the theft of precious stones, and Kenya halts Ebola center building plans. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. A Johannesburg Metro Police officer has told the Madlanga Commission that she was used to facilitate the theft of precious stones worth more than 14 million rand. Witness case testifying about the 2023 theft of what has been described as rare stones from an apartment in Killarney. She has admitted that she, alongside suspended EMPD Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and 3 other people, stole the stones under the guise of an official police operation. Alpha Ramshwana reports.
Witness K claims that she received a tip-off about an apartment in Killarney where precious stones were being stored illegally. She then approached suspended EMPD Chief Julius Mkhwanazi, who she claims was her boyfriend at the time. Despite Mkhwanazi not having jurisdiction outside Eguruleni, he allegedly roped in 2 other EMPD officers and a civilian to steal the stones. While witness K says she believes she was used, the Commission's chairperson, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, has challenged that claim.
You can't really complain though, can you? Because you had robbed the owner of the stones. You can't really complain about having been used, can you?
No, I can't.
Thank you.
The stones were estimated to be worth more than 14 million rand, but witness K says they sold them for just 110,000 rand. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Eyewitness News has learned that civic organisation March and March is seeking approval for an anti-illegal immigration march in Hillbrow on June 30th. The protest is scheduled for a date set as the deadline by some groups for all undocumented migrants to leave the country. As a result, several African countries have been facilitating the repatriation of their citizens who have expressed fear for their safety. Mongezi Gogo reports.
According to the City of Johannesburg, only one application for a march in Hillbrow has been formally lodged for next Tuesday. March and March, a civic organisation that has previously mobilised thousands of people for protest action, is the applicant. While no other groups have officially confirmed their participation, support for the June 30 action has been growing on social media, with many users vowing to demonstrate peacefully. Meanwhile, police have issued a stern warning against the carrying of firearms or traditional weapons during any planned marches, stressing that such conduct will not be tolerated. JMPD spokesperson Xolani Fihla has confirmed that March and March is due to meet with authorities to discuss the application.
They'll be sitting for the Section 205 marches and gatherings tomorrow with the relevant stakeholders, which includes SAPS, and from that sitting, then it will be determined if the march is approved or not.
For now, the city says no other applications for protest action have been received. Mongezi Gogo, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, Eastern Cape Police have stepped up their security preparations ahead of the planned nationwide protests against illegal migration. Police say contingency plans have been activated across all 8 districts in the province. Ntutu Zalonene reports.
Eastern Cape Police Commissioner Vuyisile Ngata says additional officers have been deployed to identified hotspots. He says the South African National Defence Force will support police operations in areas affected by gang-related violence. Ngata says police respect the constitutional right to protest peacefully. However, he warns that any violence, intimidation or criminal activity will be met with swift action. He's urged organizers and community leaders to work with law enforcement to ensure the demonstration remain peaceful and orderly. Ngata also stressed that no private individuals will be allowed to carry out law enforcement duties. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
The city of Johannesburg has warned that a court order suspending its water demand management levy could trigger a service delivery crisis. This comes as AfriForum seeks an urgent interdict to stop the implementation of the levy, pending a High Court review challenging its legality. In papers before the Johannesburg High Court today, the municipality denies the surcharge is unlawful, saying existing regulations allow it to impose this charge. Dimakatso Lushoro reports.
The city contends that suspending the levy would result in a significant loss of revenue and could lead to the collapse of service delivery operations. It further argues the consequences would extend beyond the municipality, affecting residents, economic activity, and the city's ability to meet its contractual obligations. The city of Joburg says the urgency brought on by the 1st of July implementation date is self-created. AfriForum maintains the imposition of the levy is not permitted by any legislation, meaning the city is acting ultra vires. The Metro has denied this allegation, claiming Regulation 20 of existing norms and standards gives it the authority to impose an indiscriminate surcharge on the water tariff. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg High Court.
And in Kenya, the country has been ordered to halt preparations for a US-run Ebola quarantine facility. Rights groups strongly opposed the plan, even petitioning the High Court, saying the facility was being developed secretly without consultation. AFP is now reporting that government ignored a court order to pause work on site, and the health minister was then held in contempt for ignoring a previous work stop order. Deadly protests have been taking place since the facility was announced for potential U.S. citizens evacuated from the DRC, which is grappling with a major Ebola outbreak. Kenya has not recorded a case of Ebola, and many oppose bringing potential carriers of the disease into the country. While gold is trading at $4,138.57 an ounce, the rand is at 16.44 to the dollar, 21.77 to the pound, 18.78 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $77.53 a barrel.
Slow-moving traffic in Melrose on the M1 northbound near Ethel Oaklands causing some delays in Boksburg. Roadworks slowing down traffic on the N17 westbound from Rondebolt to Osborne.
In your sport, Golden Boot chasers Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe sent Argentina and France to the World Cup knockout stage. Erling Haaland cools Norway's World Cup expectations, having netted his 59th goal in 52 international games. And Fehi Finenganofu rethinks his Newcastle move after All Blacks call-up.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 17 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, a Johannesburg Metro Police officer has told the Madlanga Commission that she was used to facilitate the theft of precious stones with more than 14 million rand.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD.
7:02
Walk the Talk. Abize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 10 minutes past 3 on Tuesday, the 23rd of June. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Welcome to the show. What if the highway bridge you were driving over was being structurally weakened by criminal activity below? The Johannesburg Roads Agency calls it intentional illegal excavation under the M2 bridge.
The way forward will be from us as JRA. Now I'm talking about us as JRA. We just have to fix the infrastructure. But also this gives us enough reporting mechanisms to request for more budget, because these are not done for free. And unfortunately, it's visible that vandalism is on the rise. As much as we're fixing, they're already damaging some of the infrastructure. So with our proper planning, master plan, we'll be able to target those particular infrastructure that has got a crisis.
We will talk to the JRA after 5 to find out more about a major hazard taking shape on Joburg's highways. In the Vanderbijl Magistrates Court, a fraud case underway is reminding the family of Martha Mani Rantsofu of a still unsolved murder.
As for Van Riemann saying,
the whereabouts of those who might be behind the killing, I would like to say to her, just come forward and tell the truth. This is something that you cannot carry alone. You know what is happening. Just assist.
That clip from ENCA. Mfuleni municipal official Janita van Reenen is facing charges related to a 16 million rand vehicle procurement scandal. That's exactly what Martha Mani Rantsofu was investigating at the time she was gunned down. And Kosi Corner, Malinga Mnisi has that story and joins us shortly. There's turmoil in the police as senior generals approach the ministers of police and justice. They're objecting to warrants for arrest against them being pursued by the SAPS body responsible for fighting corruption, known as IDAC. Is this, though, a reflection of much deeper divisions and looming problems within the police? More on that after 4. And we'll end the show as we always do with some music. Today we're thinking of singers who have done songs that have religious messages, but they're not necessarily gospel singers themselves. Take a listen to this sample. Van the Man, Van Morrison did all kinds of music. I don't know many where there was as explicit a religious message as that one, but that's the theme we're pursuing. If you want to start sending in your selections and your favorites, please do on 072 702 1702. JC having a rough day, I'm afraid, with the All Share giving up around 1,395 points today. That's a fall of 1.24%. The Resource Index is down by 2.9, with Glencore and Anglo Gold down by 5% and Tungela by 4.2. Better day for British American Tobacco, up by 2.5%. Sasol up by 2 despite a falling oil price. More details of that in a moment. The gold price is very sharply down today. $73.60 lost. An ounce, that's between this time yesterday and today. The rand is trading at 16 rand 49 against the dollar, 8 cents weaker than 24 hours ago. A euro will cost you 18 rand 78 and 21 rand 75 will get you a pound. The rand 4 cents down on sterling. Oil prices, I mentioned, staying below $80 a barrel, quite nicely below as well. Brent crude currently trading at $77.20 a barrel. Stephen Critters joining us with all the market news at 4:25. Sport with Tola Kele Mganga, that's at about 20 minutes to 4. Karabu Chale gives us traffic news in a moment, and Mbali Dlamini back at 3:30 with the very latest news headlines. This is 702 Drive. We are live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, well, we'll let you know as soon as we know. But if you know about things before we don't know, maybe you've passed that bridge on the M2 that shows signs of being absolutely dug up from below as people steal bricks and all sorts of elements that should be holding the bridge up. Worrying stuff. Maybe you've got some information on that, or you've got another example that you'd like to point to. Call us with that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 3:15.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
Earlier today, someone sent me a rather interesting story about a Cape Town primary school. Let me just dig out the name of the school for you. I'll find it in a moment, but let's get to the point of it. I'll find you the name later. Why can't I see this? Anyway, not too important which school it is, unless you happen to go to the school yourself or being involved with this. But the school has sent a message out to families saying, "We kindly request all parents and guardians to enter the school premises neatly and appropriately dressed at all times." And then made the point a little bit clearer by saying, "Parents and guardians are requested not to come to the school wearing pajamas or sleepwear." So it sounds like they are trying to keep it light, but at the same time keep it specific. So there is a not permitted list, and they say pajamas. dressing gowns, sleep bonnets. I'm not sure I know what a sleep bonnet is. Revealing outfits, clothing with offensive language, and torn or untidy garments. And parents are urged to wear neat jeans or long trousers, dresses or skirts of an appropriate length, shirts or t-shirts, and tidy shoes or sandals. So, question I would ask you, is it really the school's business what you wear when you drop your kids off at school? I mean, parents are under a huge amount of pressure, so much to do, got to dash out of the house. Or are they saying, well, you're probably going to be getting out of the car to help with the bags and give your loved one a last hug or a kiss, and therefore you are now suddenly in our public space. Interesting. What are your thoughts on that? Rifue Letsua, is it any business of the school?
Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. I think it definitely is the business of the school.
Okay.
I have seen parents dress really inappropriately. I can understand you're in a rush once in a while, but now if you're in your full sleepwear, taking your kid to the classroom in your bonnet, I feel like as a parent, you need to set an example to your children.
Yes.
To say, this is how you dress appropriately. We're not saying wear designer things. I make a simple tracksuit and don't wear those slippers unless if you've got swollen feet or something's wrong with your foot. But can we just look presentable? I've seen things that I wish I can't unsee them, John. I wish I could be like, my eyes. I want my eyes back. I can't.
What's a sleep bonnet?
I have no idea.
It's one of those. It looks like a doek that you put over your head, but
yes.
I don't know how to explain. Yeah, it's like a doek with it's made out of satin most of the time. It's for so that your hair doesn't get any fluff or whatever. It's a sleep bonnet. It's a sleep bonnet, not walking around bonnet. Sleep.
Okay.
Emphasis on sleep, John.
Okay.
Thanks.
Karabo, I mean, you've had to do the school run often in a rush, I would imagine.
Yeah.
If the school were to send you and your family a note saying, "Hey, listen, smarten up there."
It's a school run. It's not a parents' evening or parents' meeting. So we just drive in, drop them off, and come out. So I don't see anything wrong with wearing appropriately, wearing your pajamas, maybe with the gown and covered up properly.
You're in the car, right?
You're in the car.
Staying in the car. That's fine.
Maybe you can also open the boot, help them with the bags, and then pop into the car again. It's not like you're going to be interacting with any teachers, principals, or parents. You are just quickly in and out, and I don't see anything wrong with it. Parents have it hard preparing kids in the morning. Sometimes you are late, and you're running late. You don't have time to change into your home clothes. All I'm doing is a drop off.
As long as it stays there, John. Not now I'm going to go meet the teacher.
So should there be like
should
there be like a timer? Like, as the kid opens the door and steps out, you got 60 seconds.
That's it.
In your bonnet, pajama, whatever it is. But make it snappy. Yeah?
Drop-offs take a maximum of 60 seconds. That's how long usually a drop-off is.
I'm fine with that.
So if you're one of those parents who drop off their kids and say, "Hey, Margie, let's have a chat," in your pajamas, then that might be a problem. But if you're doing a quick in and out drop off, I see nothing
Margie
wrong with it.
Hours.
It's none of the teacher's business. They must just be happy that the kid is at school.
Listen, if you want to call in, anyone who is Margie. By the way, I mean, I'm thinking Grand Prix here, like where they can do four sets of a set of four tires in 10 seconds. Maybe we could develop like a challenge. How quickly in your pajamas, sleep on it, can you get out, hug your kid, give him a kiss, say hi to Margie, grab the sports gear out of the boot, and be back in your car before anyone's even noticed that you're wearing those big fluffy slippers. Aye, the pressures of modern life. Give us your stories, please, as parents. I suspect parents are going to have a different view to those of us who are not facing this as a 5 days a week pressure. I don't have a strong view on this, to be honest. But also, if you have your own story about when you kind of maybe wish that you had perhaps put on different shoes or whatever, we can keep it light, we can keep it serious. It's up to you. Sandra says, good afternoon, John. A sleep bonnet is like a shower cap for ladies. Okay, but presumably not sort of plastic waterproof material. 21 minutes past 3. We're going to go to the courts in Mfuleni in a moment. But first, let's just get you ready for that traffic. Let's find out how bad it is. Karabo Charlie, what's it like?
Well, not looking too bad. I guess it's still early days, but there are some delays already. There's slow-moving traffic in the Melrose area heading towards Sandton. This is caused by an accident on the M1 northbound near Ethel Oakland. Boksburg, also roadworks slowing down traffic on the N17 westbound between Rondebold and Osborne. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Midrand at Lever and Olifantsfontein Road. Traffic lights still not working in four ways at Winnie Mandela Drive and Monte Casino Boulevard. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Sibonelo Picani. What are some of the common reasons that people find themselves homeless?
Homelessness, it happens when people get into a crisis in life. But with people who doesn't have experience with homelessness people, they would say people choose to be on the street.
How are they linked to homelessness in your experience?
They are linked into homelessness because they don't get that support which they needed that would help them not to end up being on the street.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Everyone has had the anxiety of wondering if their insurer will pay out their claim. But with Outsurance, you've got peace of mind. The Ombudsman, an independent body that rules on complaints, confirmed in their 2025 annual report that Outsurance had the lowest overturn ratio of complaints received. So switch to Outsurance, the insurer that consistently delivers on what you need insurance to do. 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Do it today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
The countdown to the Barron's Gone in 60 Hours sale has begun. From 25 to 27 June, over 100 cars must go at prices so low, it's a steal. Save thousands on new, demo and used Vivos, Polos, T-Crosses, Amarocks, Tiguans and more. Stock is limited. Blink and they'll be gone. Speak to Barron's Woodmead and Brewer today. Barron's, the Volkswagen people.
Head to Dis-Chem for the ultimate savings this winter. Look out for the yellow label to shop Better Rewards brands in-store and online. Swipe your Better Rewards card to save 18 Rand on the Mitchum 50ml roll-on, now only 31 Rand 49. Plus save 144 Rand on the Eucerin 450ml urea moisturizing body cream, now just 245 Rand 69. Offers valid until 12 July at Dis-Chem. Better health starts here.
Joburg. It's time to show up for our city. On Sunday, 26 July, join thousands of Joburgers for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk in proud partnership with Standard Bank. Walk through the heart of Johannesburg, celebrate its rich history, and experience the positive growth taking place in the CBD. As a committed partner, passionate about the growth of our city, Standard Bank invites you to be part of a movement that's helping build a safer, stronger, and spirited Josie for generations to come. Register now and take the walk that brings Johannesburg together. The 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, proudly partnered by Standard Bank.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's go down to the Vanderbijl Park Magistrates Court. There is a court case on the go that has got a number of layers to it, and all of it, I think it's fair to say, very, very important. In the dock, Janita van Renen Kutsie is accused of defrauding the Mfuleni municipality of 424,000 Rand. But this links to a much larger matter that is also under investigation. It's to do with the vehicle procurement scheme or scam that the court still needs to decide on, involving 16 million Rand. And then the tragic element to all of this. You may recall the assassination, the murder of a municipal financial clerk and whistleblower, Martha Mani Rantsofu. She was gunned down, and by common cause, she was actually investigating all of these issues. All of this coming together in the court today, and in Nkosi Corner, Malinga Mnisi is keeping a close eye on things. Quite complicated. In Nkosi Corner, there's a family. We heard Tifo Rantsofu, a clip we got from ENCA a little bit earlier. The family believe that Van Reenen knows more than she's letting on, and in addition to defending herself on the charges, she should be helping with the murder investigation.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. John. Good afternoon, as well as to the listeners. And I think I wouldn't blame one for getting mixed up, because there's so many scandals where Mfuleni is concerned. But just to clarify, this specific case, it's a case of fraud, and it only relates to the over 400,000 rand. As you've correctly said, Ms. Van Reenen, 25-year-old, is accused of defrauding the municipality of that amount. So it goes like this. She essentially, as the state alleges, acted as this so-called independent agent, and she would go to the unsuspecting Mfuleni residents to say, listen, I can essentially negotiate a good deal for you as it pertains to your outstanding debt, where it relates to a municipal account. So there's two parts to it. The first one is that residents would then pay over a certain amount to her, but then the allegation by the National Prosecuting Authority is that that money never made it to the municipal coffers. But also then in turn, she allegedly made claims to Mfuleni. And those monies were essentially then supposed to somehow find their way back to said beneficiaries, and they never found their way back to those said residents. So it's on two parts, but as it stands currently, she's only charged with fraud, and the sense that I'm getting is that they're alleging that she impersonated a certain credible individual in these transactions. And of course, as you correctly then say, this is how we get to Martha Mani Rantsofu. And you'd recall, and Dr. John, that we've been following the story quite closely, because she then uncovered irregularities in the municipality's accounts, and this is how this came about. She reported it to her seniors. Subsequently, it was reported to the Hawks, and this is how we got to the arrest of Ms. Van Reenen back in May. She made an application for bail. It was denied. The court found in the state's favor, saying she's a flight risk because her residential address could not be verified, and that she would also then intimidate witnesses, as the state then alleges. Then she was denied bail. So today, we returned to court, and she's indicated that next week she's bringing a new bail application on so-called new facts.
And the family is saying, if you know something about the people who might be behind the murder of our daughter, our sister, in the case of Tifo Rantsofu, please come clean. What makes them think she could shed some light?
Well, it's precisely because the case, John, centers on what Martha Mani Rantsofu was looking into and what the family believes was the cause of her murder. And the brother, was very clear today. He did not mince his words, saying it had to do with her employment in Mfuleni. So it is, in fact, and I think it's important to state this, the states believe that Ms. Van Reenen knows something, and she even knows the motive, as well as those that could potentially be behind this assassination-style murder.
Nkosi Corner, Malinga Mnisi keeping an eye on a really important court case down in Vanderbijl Park. 29 minutes past 3.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Some breaking news in from the Supreme Court of Appeal, ruling in favor of the former Zambian President Edgar Lungu's family. Remember, this has been going on and on now, where the Zambian government went to the Supreme Court of Appeal in a bid to repatriate the former president's remains. The family has now won. I imagine there may be grounds for a further appeal to the Constitutional Court, but the SCA making that ruling in favor of the Lungu family.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
At the foot of Table Mountain, life moves a little differently. Just minutes from the Cape Town city centre, the Vineyard Hotel feels a world away, surrounded by gardens, trees, and a slower rhythm of life. Whether you're escaping for a few days or extending a business trip, it's a place to step out of the rush and slow down. So, this winter, take a breather at the Vineyard. Stay for 2 nights and enjoy their winter offer. Find out more at vineyard.co.za.
It was actually a flawless process.
It definitely pays to switch.
I wish we had done it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know, when you claim, your excess is a fixed amount, not a percentage of the claim. for beauty salons, convenience stores, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Hi there, I am Amahle, a stem cell donor. What started out as curiosity turned into an opportunity for me to save a life. Naturally, I was taken aback when I was found to be a match for a patient in need. In South Africa, over 4,000 people die of blood cancer each year. I donated stem cells and I was able to give someone else a second chance at life. Register to become a stem cell donor at kmsafrica.org so you too can be a lifesaver.
Sure, they aced it. The Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi Advantage is back at Amex Tennistown Monte Casino between 11 and 12 July 2026. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, a kids fun zone, and so much more. Buy your tickets now on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets when you use your Amex card. Tennis is better with Amex. American Express Cards is operated under license in South Africa by Nedbank, a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Right, let's find out exactly what's happening in the very latest news. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana has some things to say about electioneering and political parties, I believe. Here is Mbali Dlamini with the details.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. While Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana says in an election year, political parties must not twist facts about how government is spending its money. Today, political parties question the spending priorities as the National Assembly looks to pass the 2026 budget tabled by Godongwana in February. The Finance Minister says it's untrue that government is not making allocations to ease the lives of the country's most vulnerable, but that there needs to be more accountability as to how the money is being spent. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Minister Enoch Godongwana has hit back at opposition parties such as the MKP, EFF and NCC, who say not enough money is being spent on the country's poorest citizens. Godongwana says of the 1 trillion rand allocated to national departments, more than 300 billion is spent on grants.
Even if we are going to an election, we must not twist facts. 26.5 million are covered by this budget, and they're scattered across the length and breadth of this country.
Godongwana says it's also untrue that funding is not being made available to employ young doctors.
Now, if they are not employed, it's not because this budget has not made allocation. It's because those who are supposed to be doing so have redirected funds.
Godongwana says ministers must be held responsible for how they are spending their budget allocations, rather than for political parties to suggest the state is failing to fund critical services such as health and policing. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia is in Cape Town today to assess law enforcement readiness ahead of the planned June 30 anti-illegal migration protests. Kachalia has met with Western Cape Police senior management and the Community Policing Forum representatives as authorities ramp up preparations. Ntutuzelo Nene is there.
Kachalia is meeting Western Cape Police Senior Management and Community Policing Forum representatives as authorities ramp up preparations. The demonstrations follow calls by activist groups for undocumented foreign nationals to leave South Africa by month end. His visit comes a day after meeting Defence Minister Angie Motshekga in Johannesburg to discuss government security response. Kachalia says agencies are prepared for any eventuality, with a nationwide police deployment already underway. Preparations have also been stepped up in the Eastern Cape, where contingency plans are activated in all 8 districts. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And in Belgium, representatives from the Taliban are expected to hold talks with the European Union in Brussels today. The aim of the meeting is to discuss the return of failed asylum seekers to Afghanistan. The visit has drawn criticism, with human rights campaigners saying it flies in the face of the bloc's values. The European Commission invited the 5-person delegation for discussions under a push to crack down on irregular migration and boost deportations. Brussels and EU countries have denied that hosting Taliban officials is tantamount to recognizing the government in Kabul. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 17 and 20 degrees.
Northcliffe traffic sluggish on Beyersmore between Judges and the N1, while in Melrose heading towards Santon, accident scene M1 North near Ethel Oaklands causing some delays. Boksburg roadwork still slowing down traffic. This is on the N17 westbound between Rondebolt and Osborne.
The top story in EWN, Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana says in an election year, political parties must not twist facts about how government is spending its money.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
The exit of yet another British Prime Minister from Downing Street, I think the sixth in a decade. You have to ask, is number 10 a haunted house? Berman won a seat for the House of Commons, a seat that was meant to be quite a contest, but in the end proved to be all too easy. And I think Starmer saw the writing on the wall. And so with his voice cracking, he announced his resignation yesterday. Professor Richard Callan, you know Keir Starmer personally. How do you reflect on his departure?
Obviously, for him, it is a moment of great disappointment. You can't avoid the word of failure. But unfortunately, lacking a political program and the political wit to cope with the demands of high office. I think he was a very effective human rights lawyer in his day, and he was director of the British National Director of Public Prosecutions, the NDPP, and he was effective there. But Prime Minister requires a different skill set, and unfortunately his record will therefore be obliterated. Anything he's achieved in that time will not be remembered.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Every great business starts with a problem, one you may have experienced yourself. Nedbank Business Ignite 2026 is looking for entrepreneurs who've turned that pain into purpose and built solutions that truly make a difference. If your business is generating between 1 million and 20 million rand, you could get the funding, mentorship and support you need to grow, with Nedbank as your partner, plus access to Simply Biz to help you scale sustainably. So, if you're solving real problems and ready to take your business further, visit igniteyourbusiness.co.za or primemediaplus.com and enter today.
Breaking news. Motorists are bracing themselves for even more fuel price hikes in June.
Or prepare differently. BYD hybrid vehicles use up to 70% less fuel than normal cars. And BYD fully electric vehicles, no fuel at all. Test drive the brand new BYD Atto 2 DMI plug-in hybrid this June and kiss rising fuel prices goodbye forever. Visit byd.coza or your nearest dealership. BYD, build your dreams.
Running an NPO is challenging, but proving your credibility to donors doesn't have to be. Izinga Assist, South Africa's leading NPO verification platform, follows a rigorous process in awarding your organization with a trusted 5-star rating and official digital certification. Get verified and become visible to thousands of donors by joining Izinga Assist today at izassist.org. Doing good, done better. Proudly supported by Primedia Cares.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John and team. On the appropriate dressing for school pickups and drop-offs, I remember when I was in high school, a lot of, I was at an all-girls school, so a lot of the girls had their older brothers or even boyfriends come and collect them with the cars. And so these guys would just make sure that their T-shirts are looking good and their hair is in order, right? Until one day, 2 of the guys had an altercation and the rest of the guys actually had to jump out and go and stop the altercation. The fight wasn't as bad, but the whole thing was super funny because all the guys who jumped out to stop the fight were wearing only little boxer shorts. It was very hot, I admit, but they were only wearing boxer shorts, and so we could see all their legs exposed, and they were really skinny, all of those guys. So it was super, super funny. I bet they wished they'd worn appropriate pants for a school pickup and drop off.
Peace of mind.
You know what, John?
I think we are fast approaching a period where we will end up having head boys and head girls amongst the parents themselves. School has become so over-involving that, it's unbelievable, man. Now we do their homework. If you are unfortunate to have two kids in two different schools like myself, it's almost like a whole week having to drive into school for one meeting or another. It's become so over-involving that, it's no longer a kid's business, but rather everybody's business. I understand and I buy into the responsibilities, of our kids' education. But if we get involved in everything, I don't know if it's actually not killing the responsibility of the kids themselves. Now, but to get to the extent of actually, prescribing what parents can put on and cannot put on just for a drop-off, I think it's social overreach, honestly. Sis.
John, good afternoon. This is Titus from Trafficking. About the school, dropping off kids, not properly dressed as the school we claim. I think there should be some specifics here. Will that include outside the school gates or coming into the school premises? Because for me, if it's just outside the school premises, outside the gate, doesn't matter. It's not their business how I'm dressed. It's up to me whether I'm okay how I'm dressed. Do I look decent enough to myself for myself? If I'm just dropping off my child just by the school gates there, I don't think it should matter to them how that parent is dressed. That's my opinion. Titus Tafanten.
Yeah, we were responding to an article in the iol.co.za site about a primary school in Cape Town sending a letter to parents saying, listen, these are the kind of things you can't wear if you're dropping your kids off at school. I was asking you for your comments. Thank you, by the way, Muhlomi, sending me an illustration of a sleep bonnet. I'm much the wiser now. Nicole says, hilarious. I lived in the UK for a year. Kids only start school at 8:30 and most walk to school. In South Africa, I love watching the moms in their gear. Made my day before I rushed off to work at 7. Good for them, not caring about other northern suburbs' opinions. There are, Nicole adds, actual issues going on globally. Is this seriously an issue? Seems as if it is. 17 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly, you gave a great prediction yesterday about the Golden Boot candidates and what they might do last night. Tell us just exactly how correct you were.
Well, John, Lionel Messi is now the World Cup record goal scorer after netting a brace against Austria to move to 18 tournament goals. However, Kylian Mbappe remains on track to break that record after he netted twice against Iraq to move level on 16 goals with Miroslav Klose. For Erling Haaland, he scored his second brace of the tournament for Norway to become his country's top goal scorer in World Cup history. The striker has now netted in 12 consecutive competitive matches for Norway, registering at least 2 goals in each of the past 6.
It depends on what you mean with that. To qualify for the first time in 28 years and going through the group stage, yes, I would say so. To win the World Cup, absolutely not. I think let's be realistic here and let's be happy every single Norwegian on the planet today.
Feihi Finaganofu has revealed that his agent is in talks with Newcastle Red Bulls to tear up his contract, having been named in the All Black squad for the Nations Championship. The speedster is one of 4 uncapped players included in Dave Rennie's first squad of the year, having broken the Super Rugby Pacific record for the most tries scored in a single season with 17. Finaganofu admitted that the financial pull was part of the reason he signed with Newcastle earlier this year, with the winger wanting to look after his family.
Don't know. I'm just leaving it to my agent and I'm still waiting for him to come back to me, but I guess he's doing something good, so possibly if I could, but if not, I'll go take my contract and honour it. Maybe in the next few weeks, but yeah, hopefully soon. So I gained a lot more confidence, I guess, and give it back to the coaches as well. They had a vision, and I think we just stuck to it, and we all believed in it, and yeah, just played unreal rugby this year. So.
Ben Stokes and Gus Atkinson were found to have breached contractual obligations but were blameless for violent conduct in a London nightclub, according to an ECB investigation. Captain Stokes and the pace bowler were made unavailable for England's second test defeat by New Zealand, pending an inquiry into events that unfolded when they were out celebrating victory in the first test 2 weeks ago. Both have been given a written warning with no further action added to their removal from the second test. And Nitish Kumar Reddy has been ruled out of India's T20 series series against Ireland and England due to injury, and he'll be replaced by Suranash Sej. Reddy reported discomfort on his left quadruple following the third ODI against Afghanistan on Saturday and has now been advised to undergo a period of rehabilitation. India face Ireland in 2 T20s this weekend before travelling to England for a 5-match series in July. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's just update you on what's happening out on the roads. Not quite rush hour yet, but certainly getting busy. And Northcliffe, in particular, Karabo Charlie's already got difficulties.
Yeah, that's heading towards the N1. Northcliffe, traffic sluggish on Bears Nordia. This is between Judges and the N1. Not clear what's causing these delays. So if you're on that route, please let us know. You can WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702. In Melrose, we still have that accident scene on the M1 northbound near Ethel Oaklands, causing some delays. In Midrand, traffic sluggish on Oliphants Fontaine Road, approaching the N1. In Boksburg, roadwork still slowing down traffic. This is on the N17 westbound from Rondebold to Osborne, while in Eldorado Park, expect some delays on the N12 westbound between the Golden Highway and Klipspruit Valley Road. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. We're having a really quite evenly divided debate, actually, about most of the voice notes you heard earlier, commenting on the question we asked in response to a primary school in Cape Town saying, hey, listen to parents. Well, they sent it in a letter. These are the things you can't wear when you're dropping off your kids. Sleepwear. What? Sleep bonnets. And there were a couple of other things besides. And most of the voice notes said schools should just stay out of people's business. But in terms of the texts we're getting, both on our Facebook page and on 072-702-1702, like a wave of people saying, absolutely not. Hence, it's called bedtime attire, says Ernest. No, it's disgusting, says Sakumuzi. And on it goes. Absolutely not, says Lebochang. And oh no, says Pumzile, most definitely no, with many O's and an exclamation mark from Lydia. Let's settle this debate with the only opinion that really is going to settle this. Tola Kele, for like me, you don't do the school run. But people are raising bigger questions, by the way. Somebody's saying, hey, listen, schools are just getting into our business way more than they should. He put it rather nicely and said we're soon going to have head boys and head girls for the parents as well. But what do you think of this issue?
John, you know how sometimes you go to a family event and you took a fashion risk and you wore a purple shirt.
Yes.
Then 5 years later, your family still remembers how you wore a purple shirt and they always make fun of you about it.
Yes.
Now imagine being in primary school and the bullies at school see your mom wearing an atrocious outfit.
Yeah.
And every day they remind that poor kid. Yes, I'm not a parent, but think about the social stigma that the kids have to go through when their parents are being judged by other kids and other parents. So I would give the school leeway to say just an appropriate attire. I understand the bonnet discussion, especially among black women, is a long-going discussion about policing people's hair. But I think with kids, just think about what they would have to deal with once you've left the school premises and everybody has seen how you've dressed.
Just for the record, I don't even own a purple shirt. So Tola Kelly's example was not referring to me. But seriously, though, you're raising a very important point because you're bringing the kids into the conversation. And in fact, we've got a voice note. I'll acknowledge it properly in a moment from somebody who actually says, why don't we ask the children what they think of this? So picking up on the point that Tola Kele is making. Keep those coming on 072-702-1702. Yeah, I'll find out who raised the issue of the kids in the texts a little bit later. 10 to 4.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Let's talk about this story that appeared on the Daily Maverick site. And I think the best way for me to tell you what the story is about is to read for you the opening sentences. An alarming phenomenon has taken hold in Johannesburg over the past several months. dozens of our readers have reported being extorted and intimidated by City Power and Eskom employees, contractors and subcontractors. They've turned up at their homes and cut or threatened to switch off their electricity if they don't shell out sometimes exorbitant amounts of money for power that they, as tax and ratepayers, are already paying for. It's the work of Daily Maverick investigative journalist Diana Neal, and she joins us now on 702 Drive. Diana, welcome and thanks very much for your time. How widespread do you think this problem is? Good afternoon to you.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me. Great to be on your show. I think from what we're hearing and from the reports that we're getting and also the feedback from this piece, I think it's pretty clear that this is a pervasive problem and growing. Something that has come up across the board, across the socioeconomic spectrum as well, which sort of indicates to us that this isn't an isolated event. And also, I think the fact that in their responses to us for the story, both Eskom and City Power indicated that they had a sort of a policy almost in place to answer this question, that they don't tolerate extortion, that they don't tolerate this behavior. But it seems as though it's difficult to know what exactly they're doing to try to combat it.
So, I mean, just to illustrate your point, and I do recommend people go and read your piece, but you speak to people in the northern suburbs, but you also go to Meadowlands, the eastern side of that part of Soweto, and you get very similar stories there. Diana, how do you know, or how do they know that these are in fact City Power and Eskom employees and not people who are using that as cover for a freelance criminal activity? And of course, it could be both.
It's a great question, John, and I think this is something that the entities are having to grapple with. But in the case of the Northern Suburbs incident, and of course, as I say in the piece, no names are being mentioned because there is genuine fear of retribution. The issue is that these people's addresses and their names are logged on the City Power or Eskom systems.
Right.
In other words, it's very easy to find them. It's easy to know some of the personal details. And once a case is opened, as was the case with the Northern Suburbs issue, that is an open ticket that City Power can view from what I understand from a number of different vantage points, which means that those residents are left open to all sorts of bad behavior. So when the gentleman in this case in the Northern Suburbs showed up, it was ostensibly related to that open ticket, which means that information was available. So in that case, that resident had an elderly parent at home. City Power seems to have known that because in her interactions with them, they said to her, well, maybe your parent should stop using her bar heater so often. By the way, while telling her that, all of them were sitting with three bar heaters on under their desks.
Yes.
So there's a real level of disdain, I think, that residents are experiencing, in addition to the fear of these a power cut happening any time, and if you try to push back, or if you give in to the extortion in a desperate bid to get power back, that you will find yourself in a pretty bad situation. So I think it is a difficulty.
Diana, is there a typical MO? I mean, on the one hand, I get a sense that if things are broken, people want extra money before they fix things. But I also, and possibly I read too much into what I read of your piece, is that there's also the deliberate, let's just say, disabling of the service as a way of achieving leverage.
Absolutely. I think because this is municipal infrastructure. You can't, as a resident or as a person, just go and tamper with it. You'll get into a great deal of trouble. However, these individuals seem to see fit to go and take, switch off a box or, turn down something or remove a cable, and then go to residents and say, look, it's broken. We're here now. We have our tools, but it's going to cost you extra. Give us this much and we'll get it done for you, or you can wait 4 days. So, we've seen a number of different cases, which is why we've actually established this as less of a story and more of a call to action. We're calling this Electricity Extortion Watch, and it's a new initiative from Daily Maverick to essentially create a platform where residents of Johannesburg and maybe potentially later down the line further on in South Africa can come and upload proof, information of cases that have been perpetrated against them, where an individual has shown up, if there's a license plate that they could take a photograph of, if there's a voice note that they can make as proof of what was threatened, in both to be able to keep a record of this so that we can report on it as journalists, but then also to be able to take it to City Power and say this is what happened, and also for residents rather to feel as though they have some form of recourse, some way of being able to document this, record it, and stand up for one another.
You engaged with both City Power and Eskom, obviously presenting specific cases to them, but also having a conversation about policy and practice, and maybe take them one at a time. Did you have a sense, Diana, that they were kind of drawing up the, filling the moat, if there was water, to try and defend themselves, or did you get a sense from either or of them, or hopefully both, that they were saying, you know what, there are weaknesses in the system, there's some rot that needs cleaning out, we'd be willing to partner with you? I mean, is it a standoff at the moment, or might they help?
No, I must say they were very quick to get back to us, which is always a telling sign that I think, that there's concern to try to manage the narrative as there should be in this case, because I think residents really are sick of this at this point, and it's not just the extortion, it's all of the other things as well. So I think that they are desperate to try to maintain and control the narrative,
yes.
But they aren't coming with immediate or direct solutions. And in a way, I think they understand that this is being done as a means of pressuring them. Up to now, they've been very, very professional. City Power, someone from their media office did call me, and we had a chat. She explained her standpoint. I explained, they had asked for the residents' details. And I said, look, I'm not going to be, as a journalist, I can't
Yes.
divulge who my sources are. And particularly in a case like this, it would not be appropriate for me to share those with you for obvious reasons. She said she understood. But I think they're aware that this is a runaway train, and I'm very hopeful that they are looking for solutions, given that they are putting out this very sort of sophisticated-looking messaging around, what residents should do, what they should look out for, how they should respond. I think when the rubber hits the road is when they will actually start taking matters into their own hands and really doing something about this. Same with Eskom. I think at this point it's a little bit different with them because they're the power utility. It's a different scenario in that they aren't as on the ground as City Power is.
Yes.
And so really for us, the focus is on City Power. But we have had cases of Eskom, people posing as Eskom employees at least, going around and extorting families, as was the case in Netherlands. So they are engaging, they are cordial, professional, I suppose I would say at this point. Let's see how that continues as this campaign continues, and we do hope that residents will participate so that we can start putting pressure. In the absence of leadership, which I think we've all experienced in the city, completely broken down, this is a means for citizens to band together and try to push back.
Diana Neal, thank you. They've started a campaign. Now go to Daily Maverick and have a look at Diana's piece. If there's anything that rings a bell for you, or you've had a similar experience, or maybe a better one. I mean, we're very happy to hear views that also balance what appears to be at least one trend. But give us a call on that on 011 883 0702. And as I said, go to the Daily Maverick site. They are doing something called Electricity Extortion Watch, and that was Diana Neal, whose first round of investigation has prompted this whole campaign. 702 Drive.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Lebohang Seohe, folks are at a point now where they are taking money that is for basic necessities such as food and going for online gambling.
Online betting in South Africa has reached a crossroads where a lot of people are now using betting as a secondary income rather than it being a game of chance and then chasing losses when they don't win. And so therefore having a negative impact not only on their finances but on their mental health as well.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
How can a country that produces enough food still have hungry communities? It's a question that doesn't seem to make sense. Yet every day, millions of South Africans face food insecurity, not because there isn't food, but because access to nutritious food remains a challenge. While food is wasted across the country, families are forced to make impossible choices. Food prices are up, transport costs more, electricity is always rising, and there are other essentials as well. This Thursday on 702 Drive, we'll be in conversation with the Dis-Chem Foundation about the hidden hunger crisis in South Africa and the long-term impact it has on health, education and livelihoods. We'll hear how the foundation's practical interventions, nutritious meals, community gardens and other initiatives are helping create a more food-secure future. And do remember that you can play your part. Every swipe of your Dis-Chem Better Rewards makes it possible for the Dis-Chem Foundation to reach and serve communities across the country. The Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Just to remind you, every swipe counts on 702.
Work doesn't start when employees arrive at the office. It starts with family responsibilities, financial pressures, and the challenges of everyday life. And when life feels overwhelming, performance suffers. That's why Gaelo Lifestyle provides confidential, emotional, financial, legal, and well-being support for employees and their families. Because when people feel supported, they're more focused and ready to perform. Gaelo Lifestyle. Visit gaelo.co.za.
That's Fani before he got naked. Fani's insurance premium went up for no reason, irritating him more than when the boys ignored the really funny meme he posted in the group chat. What? So Fani got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance and a way lower premium in seconds on the Naked app. Go Fani. Get a car and home insurance quote now at naked.insure and see how much you can save when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
This is EWN.
Madlanga Commission hears how precious stones were stolen and sold, and MPs tell Home Affairs to clean up its act. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. A Johannesburg Metro Police officer has admitted that precious stones worth more than 14 million rand, which was stolen from an apartment in Killarney in 2023, was sold for just $110,000. Witness K, who has been testifying partly in camera at the commission today, is giving evidence about suspended EMPD Chief Julius Mkwanazi's alleged role in the theft. The witness says she provided Mkwanazi with information about the stones and arranged for two officers and a civilian to steal them under the guise of a police operation. She has told the commission that each member received 22,000 rand from the proceeds of the stolen stones.
Mr. Simon gave me hard cash in the amount of 110,000. After receiving the money, I went to meet Mr. Mkwanazi at a car wash. He then phoned Officer Stolz to come to the car wash. We shared the money equally amongst 5 of us. I gave them 88,000 for Mr. Mkwanazi, Officer Stolz, and Mackenzie, as well as Mr. van der Walt. I kept the 22,000 for myself.
Illegal immigration and the planned national shutdown have again come under the spotlight in Parliament, with MPs blaming the Department of Home Affairs for the crisis. Parties have now called on Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana to secure more money for the Border Management Authority in order to boost the agency's capacity. MPs have been debating the Home Affairs budget vote in the National Assembly today. Babalondenze reports.
The National Assembly voted in favour of adopting the Home Affairs departmental budget, but with serious reservations. Parties had some strong words for the department and how it is complicit in the current illegal immigration crisis, which has seen thousands of foreigners being repatriated. ATM MP Vuyo Zungula says Home Affairs is the cause of the problem.
We have an illegal immigration crisis because of the failures of this department.
Action SA MP Lerato Ngobeni says the country's sovereignty continues to be at risk.
Every nation has the right to decide who enters, who remains, and under what conditions. Without that authority, sovereignty becomes little more than a flag and an anthem.
Bossa leader Musi Maimane says the government must increase funding for the BMA instead of spending millions on security for the shutdown.
But rather allocate the finances so that our borders are secure and we can ensure that everyone who is in this country does so legally.
Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
At the same time, Eyewitness News has now learnt that civic organisation March and March is seeking approval for an anti-illegal immigration march in Hillbrow, Johannesburg on June 30th. The protest is scheduled for a date set as the deadline by some groups for all undocumented migrants to leave the country. As a result, several African countries have been facilitating the repatriation of their citizens who have expressed that they fear for their safety. Mongezi Koko reports.
According to the City of Johannesburg, only one application for a march in Hillbrow has been formally lodged for next Tuesday. March and March, a civic organization that has previously mobilized thousands of people for protest action, is the applicant. While no other groups have officially confirmed their participation, support for the June 30 action has been growing on social media, with many users vowing to demonstrate peacefully. Meanwhile, police have issued a stern warning against the carrying of firearms or traditional weapons during any planned marches, stressing that such conduct will not be tolerated. JMPD spokesperson Xolani Fihla has confirmed that March and March is due to meet with authorities to discuss the application.
So there will be sitting for the Section 205 marches and gatherings tomorrow with the relevant stakeholders, which includes SAPS, and from that sitting, then it will be determined if the march is approved or not.
For now, the city says no other applications for protest action have been received. Monke Ziko, Eyewitness News.
98% of communities affected by recent storm-related power outages in the Western Cape have now been reconnected to the grid. This has been confirmed by Western Cape Premier Alan Winde. 2 storms swept through the Western Cape just over a month ago, leaving 12 people dead while also causing widespread damage to infrastructure. During a visit to Plettenberg Bay, Winde met with residents, municipal leaders, Eskom and police to address ongoing electricity disruptions. Winde's spokesperson Regan Thor.
It was resolved that communities will receive more regular updates on electricity restoration efforts from Eskom, the local municipality, as well as the Western Cape government.
And in Finland, Parliament has approved a major overhaul of its alcohol laws. Government has promised to make alcohol sales easier in order to comply with European legislation and allow Finnish distributors to sell alcohol abroad. Under the new legislation, state-owned alcohol stores will be permitted to open on Sundays and public holidays. According to reports, the law also legalizes home delivery of alcohol from stores and restaurants and eases online marketing of spirits. Gold is trading at $4,133.03 an ounce. The rand is at 16.50 to the dollar, 21.82 to the pound, 18.81 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $77.53 a barrel.
Boksburg heading towards Germiston roadworks, still slowing down traffic on the N17 westbound between Rondebolt and Osborne Road, while in Midrand traffic remains sluggish. This is on Olifantsfontein Road approaching the N1 Eldorado Park. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the Golden Highway and Klipspruit Valley Road.
In your sport, Golden Boot chasers Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe sent Argentina and France to the World Cup knockout stage. Erling Haaland cools Norway's World Cup expectations, having netted his 59th goal in 52 international games. And Fehi Finenganofu rethinks his Newcastle move after All Blacks call up.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 6 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 7 and 21, and Vereeniging 5 and 17 degrees. The top story in EWN. A Johannesburg Metro Police officer has admitted that precious stones worth more than 14 million rand, which was stolen from an apartment in Killarney, was sold for just 110,000 rand.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 4. Good to have you with us on the show. Coming up over the next hour or so, we're going to be looking first of all at real turbulence in the criminal justice system. You may well say, what is new? But it is very much reaching a boiling point in one sense, where 2 senior officers heading crime intelligence have now approached both the Minister of Police and the Minister of Justice. They are complaining about the handling of the operations of the investigating directorate against corruption. And this is in regard to arrest warrants, which they said they were anticipating but were never issued. It's quite a complicated situation. Fortunately, we have Peter Dutoy joining us from News 24, who will help us understand better exactly what is going on. We'll do that in a couple of minutes' time. And then, still dealing with the law, but very much at a different level, an interesting story which points out that while there may be a lot of stores that we kind of know as weed stores selling various cannabis products for recreational use, there is a view that is being reiterated saying, actually, you know what? While these stores are out in the open and nobody seems bothered by them, selling cannabis products is actually still illegal. We'll get clarity on that at 10 to 5. This is 702 Drive. Quite a few people expressing their views on whether it is fine to go and drop your kids off at school wearing sleepwear. Isabel suggested a little bit earlier that actually what we should do is ask the children what they think about this. Thank you for that, Isabel, a point that Tolakele Mganga also made. A lot of you are sending us views on that, and some of you have some thoughts on city services. Reaction to our interview with Diana Neal, her piece in Daily Maverick, is talking about how a number of people are complaining that people either from City Power or Eskom, or saying that they are from those entities, are either coming to places where electricity infrastructure has been damaged, or even disabling that infrastructure themselves, and then trying to extort money out of ratepayers and taxpayers in order to get that fixed. So if you've got stories about that, and I've got a couple already, please send them as well to 072 702 1702.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hey, John, I'm telling you, I know your colleagues believe that it's convenient and it's quick to do a quick drop-off in your pajamas. My sister once did that. She thought to herself, I'm quickly going to drop off lunch money for my son at the gate. It will just be a quick in and out at the school. Lo and behold, just as she got out of the house, she was involved in a car accident. Not that major, but she needed to get out of the house, and she was in her gowns and in her pajamas. So anything can happen. Now I'll never take that chance. It's Dali here.
Hi guys, so with the drop-off outfits in the morning or fetching kids, no one really cares what you are wearing. And how you know that is, think about what whoever parent that you bumped into yesterday was wearing yesterday, or whoever parent that you bumped in today was wearing today. If you can answer that question, then maybe you care too much. But if you don't, then you realize, I can just wear anything.
Hi, John. Just to add to the electricity story, there's another thing we also noted. In our street in Randburg, my neighbor, probably about a month or two back, had his water meter stolen. Quite odd. His bills were up to date. He first thought he was cut off. Phoned the municipality. They said, no, there's no cut-off notice. So we ended up checking the cameras, and the people that stole it was people in a Rand Water vehicle. The registration number was linked to Rand Water, so it was Rand Water employees in it. I don't know what happened further after that, but it's also just something to note. I don't know if it's maybe contractors that's employed to install water meters that go about doing this, because then they get work. I'm not exactly sure what the reason is, but it just kind of adds to the story with the electricity guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, a couple of people, thanks for those in regard to extortion. Charlotte, let me read this one. Good afternoon, 702. Some years ago, about 2021, City Power employees came to cut off our power because of non-payment. It is a sectional title, and one owner was not paying. They advised us to install prepaid, but warned us that this is a tedious process, but they will apply for us. The guy... we gave him the money for prepaid meters, 6,000 Rand. He deposited that into his account. To this day, he stopped answering the calls. I had to pay for the new prepaid meter boxes because I deposited the money to him. We continued with our new prepaid. This year, we were told the main meter box is not registered, so other City Power employees confiscated that one. The prepaids are fine, just the main sectional title one that this man installed is the problem. 4:15.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's go and find out what's happening out on the roads. It's busy in Boksburg. Karabo Chali with the details.
Yeah, roadworks causing heavy delays. That's if you're leaving Brakpan heading towards Germiston. That's on the N17 westbound between Rondebold and Osborne Road in Strubens Valley. Traffic also heavily backed up. This is on Henry Potgieter approaching Krugerrand due to faulty traffic lights. Driving through the Joburg CBD, expect some delays heading towards Boyson's M1 South from Killarney Bends to the Crown Interchange. While in Midrand, traffic remains sluggish. This is on Olifantsfontein Road approaching the N1. El Dorado Park heading towards Proteas Lane. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the Golden Highway and Klipspruit Valley Road. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 7:02 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
What happens to all of that IP that lives at these data centers? Can at any moment the billionaires and trillionaires just decide to take all of that information and use it for themselves?
Well, they're doing it already, unfortunately. I'm not sure if you're familiar with some of the sort of class action lawsuits against some of these models in the state. And so I think there's generally awareness. The other thing that I think within South African context, the likes of Poppy as an act also gives users some sort of protection. In Europe, GDPR is an equivalent. So these protections are in place, but unfortunately, you are at the mercy of these larger models.
Dawood Patel, CEO of Helm.
7:02 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
When the people of Joburg unite for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk on Sunday 26 July, your safety is our priority. Working closely with the South African Police Service, the JMPD, private security teams, emergency services, city wardens and other key stakeholders, there's a complete and comprehensive safety plan in place every step of the way. And there's safe park and ride to the start at Ellis Park, thanks to Gautrain and Prasa. So come along and walk the iconic inner city with us by entering on primemediaplus.com. Do it now. The 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the city of Joburg. Walk with the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Demonials. It's the flavor! Real reviews by real people. Nadine from Belito is no scallop, but she did call the flame-grilled half chicken in Nando's unique peri-peri recipe with a single side of your choice for $125 dope. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, sorry. Relax, Nadine. The only thing we're busting here is your hunger. Okay? Nando's. Oh, what a place.
Your boss noticed. Your ex noticed. The neighbors definitely noticed. Because some cars say, I rented a car. And some cars say, I rented the car. Sani Sixt Rent-A-Car. Premium rentals. For people who don't settle. Choose the right car. Rent Sani Sixt on sani.co.za.
The Money Show. Weekday evenings at 6.
Well, the Gauteng High Court ruling the compounding pharmacy Idexis must immediately stop producing weight loss drugs.
The concern of the industry and just generally the medical fraternity in our country, compounding these weight loss products at scale is placing patients at significant risk. This goes to the heart of the matter between Nova and Idexis.
Dr. Severos Nicolau is the chair of a pharmaceutical task group.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Rewards. Get double cash back depending on your rewards tier when an African team scores and wins at the FIFA World Cup 2026, courtesy of Visa. Use your Absa Visa card at rewards partners on match days to score. Join Absa Rewards on the banking app. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, now to a story that's been taking shape over the last couple of days in the latest round of events, I suppose. Dumisani Kumalo, Head of Crime Intelligence, and Head of Intelligence Analysis, Nozipo Madondo, have filed complaints with Justice Minister Mamoluku Kubai and Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia, as well as the National Prosecuting Authority. At issue is an operation supposedly run by the Investigating Directorate Against Cooperation. The pair allege they were instructed to report to the Brooklyn Police Station in Pretoria in anticipation of arrest warrants that were never actually executed. It's a complex situation, and it points to much deeper currents of discord within the South African Police Service. Somebody who's been trying to get to the bottom of it is Peter du Toit, Assistant Editor for Investigations at News 24. Peter, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. Any idea what's going on?
Good afternoon, John. Look, it's enormously complicated, isn't it? It stretches across the length and the breadth of the criminal justice system, from the top echelons of the police straight through to crime intelligence, and ends up at the National Prosecuting Authority and the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption. So it's complicated. You have different sides to the story that is being playing out in social media. It's obviously been playing out in the media as well. We interviewed Advocate Andrea Johnson yesterday and published the story this morning on News 24, someone who does not grant interviews and someone who does not want to be a public figure, but obviously has now been forced, given the unfolding environment, given unfolding events, to try and put her version of events in the public. So we have been trying to get to the bottom of this, but as I say, it is enormously complicated, and it does span the length and the breadth of the criminal justice system. We know the revelations that have been coming out from the Malanga Commission that shows we have significant problems in our criminal justice system. So certainly a cause for concern that there seems to be conflict between General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and Andrea Johnson, who heads up IDAC.
This seems to play out in multiple directions, because if you were to list the different elements and individuals and entities within the South African police service and the criminal justice system more broadly, General Mkhwanazi seems to be at odds with quite a number of those, which doesn't mean he's right or wrong, but certainly it's not just a two-way conflict, is it? We've heard of clashes, for example, between General Mkhwanazi and General Sibiya, who until recently was Deputy National Commissioner of Police. Does that make it increasingly difficult to actually figure things out? Because it's not as if there's a single split.
It does make it very difficult, John. I think what makes it difficult is that General Mkhwanazi has kind of taken on a cult-like figure in broader society, and that is all down to the press briefing that he gave in July last year, which cast him as this anti-corruption crusader. But in the same time, he went to the ad hoc commission the ad hoc committee in Parliament, asking for counterintelligence operations against journalists, asking for investigations against media houses. Then last week at the Brooklyn Police Station, after IDAC opted not to execute 2 legally obtained warrants against Generals Kumalo and Madondo, he spoke about we are at war, saying that blood will flow. Now, those type of comments are completely unacceptable, I'd argue, in a constitutional democracy, specifically when those comments are seemingly aimed at an agency which is starting to make headway in the fight against corruption. John, you can cast your mind back to 2006, 7, 8, 9, when the pressure was starting to ratchet up on the Scorpions, when they were starting to show successes in the fight against corruption, and they were summarily politically executed in 2008-9. I'm seeing the exact same thing happening right now.
In terms of where this goes next, the complaint goes to the acting Minister of Police, who I think it's fair to say already has his hands full in regard to other issues going on in the country, particularly that June 30 deadline and the anti-immigrant marches. Does anyone have the power and the capacity and, crucially, the credibility to try and dial all of this down and if not resolve what the disputes are, at least bring them into some kind of orderly frame?
Well, John, we aren't used to strong leadership in the crime and justice cluster, are we? We aren't used to a Minister of Justice or a Minister of Police taking the bull by the horns and trying to sort out the issues that there are. So I won't hold my breath that would be an avenue that would be successful. I think what needs to happen is that if there are charges against Khumalo and Madondo. Andrea Johnson told News 24 yesterday that come the 30th of June, if the March to March threatened violence has subsided, then they will execute those arrest warrants. That will need to be tested in court. So the only way in which we can get to the bottom of this is by looking at the facts, the objective and undisputed facts, and look at that within the framework of the law. I just want to add one thing, John, that if we look at political instability, if we look at instability in the criminal justice system over the last 20 years, the one component, the one institution or agency that has been central to that has always been crime intelligence. The crime intelligence division of the police that Khumalo heads over the last 20, 25 years has been chiefly responsible and has been intimately involved in all instances of political instability and of faction fighting in the ANC or other major dramas that we've seen. They remain central to this as well. The reason for that is crime intelligence they work in the shadows. They have enormous budgets that oversight aren't properly provided over, which means they've got access to money. We know the role that CI has played, for example, John, in the last 2 ANC elections. This is about power. This is about access to the resources that crime intelligence has. And I dare say this is about keeping IDAC away from any investigation which can expose wrongdoing in those senior levels of CI.
Peter du Toit, thank you. Assistant Editor for Investigations at News 24. Andrea Johnson from IDAC granting News 24 an interview today behind the paywall. But if you are a subscriber, it's well worth reading. 27 minutes past 4.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Limpopo police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the discovery of 23 young people in a suspected human trafficking case. The women and men aged between 19 and 23 were found at a house in Seshego yesterday following a tip-off. The group told authorities they were housed there by a man who had recruited them under the guise of selling insurance.
Police arrested a man yesterday after receiving information about alleged suspicious activities at the house. Preliminary investigations revealed that the young men and women came from several provinces, including Limpopo, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Corporates that care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring Food Lovers Market. Their group executive responsible for people and sustainability, Andrew Milson, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. And join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
Are your nails discolored, brittle, crumbly, or appear ragged? Are they thickened or starting to lift off the nail bed? You may have a fungal nail infection, which can lead to discomfort, limit your activities, and have a negative impact on your social life because of the embarrassment. New Turbane Nail treats fungal nail infections by directly killing the fungus. It requires no filing before application and dries in about 30 seconds once applied. Ask your pharmacist about New Turbane Nail and say goodbye to fungal nail infections.
When you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Nedbank is more than just a bank. We're a growth partner because we understand that real success happens when you're looking ahead, spotting opportunities others miss, and planning for tomorrow, today. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Kaelo Lifestyle, a mental wellness and support program for employees and their families, is calling on you to take a step towards better mental health. As the mental wellness partner of 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, Kaelo is bringing even more purpose to the walk. From checking in with yourself to celebrating connection, every step is designed to support your well-being. So rally your team and walk for mental wellness. Visit primemediaplus.com for more information. Kaelo Lifestyle, changing lives and improving business. On 702, let's walk the talk. EWN Business.
Right, let's go into the markets and find out how they've been doing today. Stephen Curtis with the very latest. Good afternoon.
Afternoon to you, John. Oil prices still creeping down, but unfortunately what we've seen around the world, markets lower generally, affecting the JSE too. The all-share down 0.2%, 111,976 points. Financials are up 0.28%. Industrials are down 0.34%, and resources down nearly 2%. The usual story, lower platinum and gold prices. Also a stronger dollar, and that's having an impact on gold prices. It's having an impact on the rand, and that's because of interest rate expectations in the US. That said, Optasia, the fintech company that trades across Africa, they're down 5.69%. And then we go to the miners. Anglo and Glencore are down around 4.5%. Pan-African, Sabania, South 32, all of them down by nearly 3%. Dischem is down 4% and Premier down nearly 3%. Both of those, of course, in the consumer space. And a little bit of buying on some of the defensive stocks that we've seen. So British American Tobacco are up nearly 4%. AB InBev are up over 2%, and Sasol also up 1.13%, while We Buy Cars also strongly up 0.96% on the day. F&B, the owners of First Rand, the owners of F&B and Westbank, reporting today the decisions of British regulators around their car financing unit there mean it'll have to make a provision of around £750 million. Does expect to be out of that market by the end of the next financial year. Despite that, their net interest income growth in South Africa is slightly higher than expected, and obviously Westbank benefiting from higher number of car sales. They do say operating expenses will be slightly higher than expected. And the Bureau for Economic Research saying consumer confidence has fallen dramatically in the second half of the year. The F&B BER index moving from -7 to -19. Fuel prices. John, we don't have to be detectives about this. Really is just fuel prices. And then the beer producer Heineken. They've decided to appoint a new CEO from the coffee industry. Rafael Oliveira was at JDE Peat, and he takes over from Dolph van den Brink, who's been in charge at Heineken from 2020. Should be an interesting transition from coffee to beer, I suppose. In the US, markets were down yesterday. Fears about AI. We're seeing it again today. The Dow Jones down 0.06. The Nasdaq is down 1.18. The S&P 500 is down 0.86. I do mean AI values rather than, AI generally, but you're allowed to be scared of that too. The gold price, $4,137.73 an ounce. Platinum, $1,658.70. Brent crude, $76.80 a barrel. The rand to the dollar is 16.50, so to the euro 18.78, to the British pound 21.79. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. 27 minutes now to 5 o'clock. Stephen back with us after 5. Right now, Mbali Dlamini with the latest news. Supreme Court of Appeal adjudicating, I believe, on a matter involving the former president, the late president of another country. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. A very good afternoon. While the family of Zambia's late former president Edgar Lungu has welcomed a Supreme Court of Appeal decision which paves the way for his burial in South Africa. This morning, the court set aside a High Court judgment that found that the Zambian government was entitled to repatriate his remains for a state funeral in Zambia. The 2025 judgment has been in contention, with the Lungu family refusing for him to be buried in his home country. Lungu died in June last year in South Africa while he was receiving medical treatment. Mongezi Koko has more.
The former president's family has long maintained that Lungu wanted to be buried privately in South Africa and without the involvement of the Zambian government. The dispute first reached the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria after Zambia successfully obtained an urgent order halting a private burial in Joburg in June last year. A full bench later ruled that the former head of state's remains should be repatriated to Zambia for a state funeral. But the Supreme Court of Appeal has now overturned that decision. Family lawyer Neo Mashele.
Look, the family is ecstatic as one would expect. The family has respected the South African courts and will continue to do so. The family welcomes the Supreme Court of Appeal's judgment.
The ruling marks the latest twist in a year-long battle that has left the former president's remains in South Africa since his death. It remains to be seen whether the Zambian government will take the matter to the Constitutional Court. Mungi Ziko Go, Eyewitness News.
Action SA says it's appalled by Public Works Minister Dean McPherson's decision to legally challenge Parliament. McPherson instituted the legal proceedings after being found guilty of breaching the Code of Ethical Conduct. This was for calling Action SA supporters in Pietermaritzburg amapara, a slang term that refers to criminals or drug users. The Ethics Committee recommended that McPherson be formally reprimanded and force him to issue a public apology to the National Assembly. Action SA MP Alan Beasley says rather than accepting responsibility and offering an apology, McPherson chose to undermine Parliament by dragging it to court. Beasley says McPherson's remarks were racist in nature.
Rather than accepting this outcome, McPherson has decided to undermine Parliament and has taken Parliament to court. It is deeply concerning that a sitting minister would take such actions and will not take accountability and responsibility for comments that he made that are racist in nature.
And in Kenya, the country has been ordered to halt preparations for a US-run Ebola quarantine facility. Rights groups strongly opposed the plan, even petitioning the High Court, saying the facility was being developed secretly without consultation. AFP is reporting that government ignored a court order to pause work on site, and the health minister was held in contempt for ignoring a previous work stop order. Deadly protests have taken place since the facility was announced for potential U.S. citizens evacuated from the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is grappling with a major Ebola outbreak. Kenya has not recorded a case of Ebola, and many oppose bringing potential carriers of the disease into the country. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 5 and 7 degrees and highs of between 17 and 21.
El Dorado Park expect about a 20-minute delay. This is on the N12 westbound between the Golden Highway and Klipspruit Valley Road, while in Strubens Valley. There's about a 30-minute delay on Hendrik Potgieter approaching Kruger Rand due to faulty traffic lights. Midrand traffic remains sluggish on Olifantsfontein Road approaching the N1.
The top story in EWN, the family of Zambia's late former president Edgar Lungu has welcomed a Supreme Court of Appeal decision which paves the way for his burial in South Africa.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Lebohang Seohe. Folks are at a point now where they are taking money that is for basic necessities such as food and going for online gambling.
Online betting in South Africa has reached a crossroads where a lot of people are now using betting as a secondary income rather than it being a game of chance and then chasing losses when they don't win. And so therefore having a negative impact not only on their finances but on their mental health as well.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
It's Powerball jackpot time. This Tuesday, you have a chance to win over 170 million rand in total Powerball estimated jackpot. That is life-changing money that could be yours instantly. Catch the live draw tonight at 9 p.m. on ETV and SABC, and you could become South Africa's next multi-millionaire. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizekaya.
Ready to go?
No, can't.
Your mother raised you. She can look after him for one day.
But he's just your baby.
He's 7.
Just your baby.
I've packed his favorite toy and blanket.
Okay.
Just grab his Hills food.
Always.
We know that you only want the best for your small dog, which is why Hills has developed expert, science-backed nutrition to meet the unique needs of small dogs and help them live their best lives across their longer lifespans. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more.
That's Amanda, before she got naked. When the power tripped, Amanda felt more helpless than when her mom-in-law called her lasagna different. So Amanda got naked. She got car and home insurance at a lower premium and can now call an electrician anytime via the Naked app. There we go. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
702. WhatsApp John
On 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. Yeah, the ADAC arrest warrants. I mean, I was listening to the acting police minister, Kachalia, earlier today, suggesting that, it was a bit inconvenient or a problem that they wanted to arrest Mkonazi and Kumalo because they were involved with the intelligence for these protests that are going to happen on the 30th of June. But I was just wondering, would any ordinary citizen be granted a period of a week or two to not be arrested because they have important work that needs to be done? So it's kind of seeming like, no, the work they're doing is too important, so don't arrest them now, and that's making ADAC look like a bunch of fools.
Good afternoon, Tate John, Shumani, and Tate John. In my whole entire life, I've never heard a thing of let him work. After he's done his job, we arrest him. Imagine you are working at the other side, at the other hand, you are thinking, hey, after this after the 30th, I'm gonna go to prison. This is not right, John. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't make sense. They wait for you to work, and then after you've done the good job for South Africa, then you go to prison.
Yeah, lots of response to that interview. If you missed, by the way, our conversation with Peter du Toit earlier about the turbulence in the South African police service and in the criminal justice system more broadly, well, you can pick that up on primemediaplus.com. There are opportunities to listen to anything you might have missed on this show or any other. It's 18 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele Mganga covering all sorts of things, including the World Cup.
The EWN World Cup Desk. The latest scores, the biggest stories, and the moments everyone's talking about.
Thanks so much, John. And Senegal's hopes of advancing to the FIFA World Cup knockouts took a hit following their 3-2 defeat to Norway that made it back-to-back losses in the tournament. Kalidou Koulibaly was at fault for 2 of the goals before being subbed out at halftime as the Europeans booked their place in the last 32. Ismail Jacobs and his Lions of Teranga teammates go into Friday's final group game against Iraq, knowing that they must win to have any chance of reaching the next stage.
Kuli is a very important player for us. Everyone is used to do mistakes. I think it's, at the end it's the team who lost and not a certain player. I think he's experienced enough to keep the head up, and we are as a team all behind the players. It's not someone's fault, it's always the team's. We have a lot of experienced players and we have a lot of young players also who played the first. I think we have a good mix, and we fought a long time to come here. We waited a long time to get here, and we're going to do all in our hands to not let this end in this way.
The second round action continues this evening with one of the clashes of the night seeing England up against Ghana. Both teams opened their campaigns with wins over Croatia and Panama respectively, while Carlos Queiroz has discussed what the Black Stars need to do to beat the 1966 champions.
We're going to introduce a couple of different players on the starting lineup. My favorite player, which is the team, I hope will be better. We're able to progress. With the player that you mentioned or whatever it is, another player, one player that I'm concerned that progress and be better, it is the team. So I am full confident that the starting lineup tomorrow, they'll be strong, enthusiastic, with a lot of motivation to get the result that we need to move forward.
Jeremy Doku will be available for Belgium's meeting with New Zealand in Group G on Saturday, having returned to England for the birth of his child. He made the trip across the Atlantic despite criticism from French media outlet L'Equipe, who have apologized after one of their presenters questioned his commitment to the team. England's Ollie Watkins has also defended Doku amid the fallout, saying some things are bigger than football.
Someone labelled it disgusting. For a start, that's not a way to label a birth. It only happens once. You know, your first child, welcoming them to the world is a blessing. And yeah, you don't get that opportunity. There's a lot of times where you're away from family and friends during the season and it's very difficult periods. So to miss that would be tough. I see where he's coming from. I think he has all right to go back and be there, you know. I think we're very privileged men at the end of the day, and I'm sure he will have a lot of support to be able to get back.
And Neymar could make his first appearance at this year's World Cup in Brazil's match against Scotland on Wednesday after recovering from a calf injury. He was recalled after almost 3 years away from the national team and suffered the injury 5 weeks ago. Neymar last played for Brazil in 2023 and since then has been sidelined for more than 650 days by a string of injuries that he sustained during spells playing in Saudi Arabia and Brazil. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
From kickoff to the final whistle, this is the EWN World Cup Desk.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's find out what's happening out on the roads at 4:45. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142. Do it now and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Eldorado Park is our next trouble spot. Karabo Charlie with all the details.
Yeah, roadworks causing about a 20-minute delay in the Eldos area heading towards Protea Glen. That's the N12 westbound between the Golden Highway and Klipspruit Valley Road due to ongoing roadworks. Strubens Valley also expect about a 30-minute delay on Hendrik Potgieter approaching Krugerrand due to faulty traffic lights. Driving through the Joburg CBD peak hour traffic, M1 south from Killarney Bains to the Crown interchange, while in Ekurhuleni Boksburg heading towards Germiston. Roadworks also causing heavy delays. N12 westbound from Rondebold all the way to Osborne, while in Alex, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N3 southbound from Marlborough Drive to the Gilulis interchange. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 52. Did the kids actually do their holiday homework, or are they going to make it my homework? Oh, the drama. Well, with the Outsurance pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So, very, very early on Thursday morning, very early, 3 a.m. South African time, a must-win match for Bafana. I suppose they all are, but this is the last roll of the World Cup dice, potentially, if we don't manage to do the business against South Korea. Now, the kickoff is at 3 a.m. I just want to know from you, is your workplace making any special arrangements for you either to arrive and not be particularly productive, you to arrive and being hyperactive because the team won, or maybe for you simply not to turn up at all? And if workplaces are not kind of factoring that in and allowing people to work from home on Thursday morning, is this something that they really ought to do? What do you think about that, Tolakele? I mean, should there be World Cup arrangements in general, you know, not just here, but maybe all over the world?
I just feel like for every Bafana game, we should be given the day off. They need us to go on a fasting and a prayer session so that by the time they actually take to the pitch, they can feel 50 million people supporting them. And we can also be well rested to be productive citizens in Cyril Ramaphosa's economy.
Okay, well, that's pretty clear. I think she's worked it all out exactly well. What do you think? I mean, distinguish, please, between what you think should happen and what you would like to happen.
Well, it will be nice if the companies we work for make arrangements and all sorts of things. But in reality, it won't make any business sense. It won't be feasible production has to carry on. Targets have to be reached. So you just have to make your own personal arrangements and pitch to work. If I was your boss, I'll make sure you are at work. If we lose, we win. I want you there, being productive. I don't want baggy eyes. So, yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't support them, but please, business is business.
But what if I fall sick at like 4:30 on Thursday morning?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm allowed to take the rest of the day off.
100%, and please bring your doctor's note.
But technically, by law,
the doctor's
if it's
off.
2 days, that's the only time I'm required. Not that I'm telling people what to do on Thursday.
Yes, yeah. You'll find a lot of the doctors are taking Thursday off as well. It's going to get tricky. So, yeah, are you planning, by the way, to get up at 3 o'clock? I'm setting record and I'm switching off my phone. I'm not going to look at anything. I'm going to watch the game. 5:30ish.
Geesh, I'm going to wake up, definitely. I love watching live games.
Don't call me, no messages. Stay in your lane.
I'm not promising anything.
No promise. We need you to promise. Okay, so tell us, plans for Thursday. And by the way, if you run a business or maybe a team, are you cutting workers some slack? Do you think you should? Maybe there's deals to be done. Say, hey, guys, we've got this thing that needs doing. Put in an extra 2 hours on Wednesday and you can come in late on Thursday. Give us a call on 011 883 0702 or 072 702 1702.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
So 10 to 5, very interesting story written in News 24, the journalist Andrew Thompson, who's put together a very interesting piece. And I must admit, I didn't know this, but basically he says, well, let me read you the opening couple of sentences. South Africa's weed shops and inverted commas dispensaries have become hard to miss. Describes how you can see them pretty much all over the place. This has helped define a narrative around Dagga in South Africa, where many people seem to believe it is perfectly legal to walk into their local store, at best become a temporary member, and walk out with an array of cannabis and cannabis-adjacent products without fear of persecution. And he then goes on to say, well, it actually isn't legal. So let's get some clarity on this, because I have to say, I'm amongst the people who has thought, well, this is there, it's out in the open, people are buying, people are selling, and, you know, it must be entirely legal. It may well be acceptable, but is it legal? Paul Michael Keichel is a specialist cannabis and environmental lawyer at the law firm Cullinan and Associates. Paul Michael, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. Are we confused, or is the law absolutely clear? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, to you and your listeners. It's both absolutely clear, but it seems to have confused everybody.
Yes.
Largely because of the proliferation of these so-called cannabis dispensaries, or just over-the-counter cannabis shops that don't even bother to call themselves dispensaries. I think a lot of the confusion came into place with the 2018 judgment. And then a lot of the cowboys sort of started opening these shops. And then the Cannabis for Private Purposes Act, which was put onto our statute books in 2024, has not been operationalized. So we still have cannabis that is overseen or dictated, its terms are dictated by the Drugs and Drugs Trafficking Act, which says that any trade in cannabis is illegal and could land you in prison.
So the law that hasn't been operationalized, what does that say? Does it reverse the position on the specific issue taken by the previous act?
It doesn't actually reverse it. So what the previous act says is that the only exception to being deemed a drug dealer is if you hold a license in terms of the Medicines Act, read together with the Pharmacy Act. So that's if you are actually dealing in legitimate medicinal cannabis, that is registered cannabis medicine. What the Private Purposes Act says is that you are not a criminal if you hold a license or a permit in terms of any other act of parliament. So what that does is it doesn't create a legal regime for the dealing in of cannabis, but it actually foreshadows one. So, you know, government could put into place, for example, an amendment to the Business Act, or a whole new Cannabis for Commercial Purposes Act, for lack of a better term, that could then legitimize what is going on. it's pretty much on every street corner now.
Is this a reflection of a wider issue that, you know, there's been so much conversation about there's going to be some deregulation, some liberalization, and crucially a real surge forward to try and take advantage of the many economic opportunities a more liberal regime would offer. But we seem to be stumbling rather than striding.
Absolutely, and I think that some of the blame needs to go towards government inaction. I mean, I know that after 2018, Parliament was given 2 years, and it took them more like 5 years to put the Cannabis for Private Purposes Act into place. And Cyril Ramaphosa at the last 3 or 4 State of the Nation addresses has promised us that he was going to fast track within that budget year, the liberalization of cannabis, and we've just not seen it happen. So I think that what you're actually seeing is a whole lot of people who want to make money out of cannabis who are just done with waiting and are pushing ahead despite knowing that it's illegal. And you combine that with the fact that I think that the average member of the South African Police Service is completely over their head with other things now and has given up on enforcing cannabis. They actually don't care anymore, either that or they are being bribed to turn a blind eye. It depends on the jurisdiction and on a case-by-case basis.
I mean, if the police were to say, you know what, we're done with having these shops, 2, 3, 4 of them in this particular neighborhood, we're being swamped with complaints at the local police station, we're going to go out and bust people, and we're going to bring this thing to court. As unlikely as that sounds, bear with me on the hypothesis. If it went to court, would it be a fairly quick conviction and what? A large fine? I couldn't imagine people going to jail for this.
I wouldn't imagine that any of the purchasers of cannabis are going to go to jail for it. But
right.
In your hypothetical scenario, you are dealing with organized crime. You're dealing with wide or in the open air drug dealing, according to the statute books as they currently read. So I think it would be a very easy prosecution in the hypothetical, and you could face more than a large fine. You could face many years in prison.
I mean, are we dealing, and I suppose I'm looping back to something we've already discussed, but I want to get your view on it in this specific way. Are we dealing with a situation where the overall intention of government policy, be it in regard to economic opportunity or the prioritization of what is and isn't a significant crime, that policy is completely at variance with the law? And that that maybe is government's largest failure in this regard.
Well, I mean, I don't, I'm not sure that we have actually seen a coherent or reliable policy when it comes to cannabis. But that may be so. The one thing that I would just like to add around that is it's all very well and good, that the SAPs have given up on this and that government doesn't really seem to care about this. But of course, what we're really lacking in this instance is regulated quality control. We don't know, because there are no licenses, that the cannabis that is being dispensed to people, in inverted commas, is actually fit for human consumption. There could be a lot of fly-by-nights, and we hear anecdotal stories all the time of people, who have had very bad experiences because they actually just don't know what they're purchasing.
And just finally, sorry, I did say that was the last, but I promise this one is the Health Products Regulatory Authority, the medico-regulatory bodies of our government setup, is that the best place to deal with this, or does this belong with a consumer commission, for example?
Well, so-called medicinal cannabis or cannabis medicine will always belong with SAPRA.
Right.
But we just need to draw this distinction. This is what we call responsible adult use, or in inverted commas, recreational cannabis.
Okay.
And I don't think that belongs with SAPRA. You need sort of minimum standards of fitness for human consumption that are regulated by a department or an agency outside of SAPRA, which is more the traditional Western pharmaceutical paradigm.
Thank you so much. Paul Michael Kegel is a specialist cannabis and environmental lawyer at Cullinan and Associates. I mean, if you're in this business and you want to give us a call and tell us about what it's like to be trading green in the grey, I'd love to hear you. If you want to come on and not use your own name, we're very happy with that. But the insights at store level, I think, are invaluable here. If you can share those, please do on 072 702 1702.
In fitness, as in finance, endurance is key. If you're 55 and older, you can get an interest rate of up to 10.25% with a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. Now, feel the earn. Invest within 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank, we're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. For more info, go to nedbank.co.za.
Catch the Springboks live at Ellis Park Stadium this year. Lions fans, get ready. Secure your all-inclusive Lions membership package to watch the Springboks versus England and the All Blacks. Or from just 950 Rand, get your Lions-only package and unlock access to every Lions match at Ellis Park. All packages include the massive clash between the Lions and the All Blacks this August. Memberships are available now at Ticket Pro or through our stadium ticket office. Visit lionsrugby.co.za for package options. Own the season and get behind your team.
The Global Entrepreneurship Congress Africa returns to Cape Town from 16 to 17 September 2026. The continent's largest Pan-African platform brings together investors, policymakers, and entrepreneurs. GEC Plus Africa is powered by African Bank in partnership with the Western Cape Government, Microsoft, Amazon, Telkom, 22 on Sloan, and more. Register on gecafrica.co. GEC Plus Africa. Connecting Africa.
This is EWN.
Madlanga Commission hears how precious stones were stolen and sold, and Joburg Metro Police gear up for June 30 demonstrations. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. A Johannesburg Metro Police officer has told the Madlanga Commission that she was used to facilitate the theft of precious stones worth more than 14 million rand. Witness K has been testifying about the 2023 theft of what has been described as rare stones from an apartment in Killarney. She has admitted that she, alongside suspended EMPD Chief Julius Mkwanazi and 3 other people, stole the stones under the guise of an official police operation. Alfara Mshwana reports.
Witness K claims that she received a tip-off about an apartment in Killarney where precious stones were being stored illegally. She then approached suspended EMPD Chief Julius Mkwanazi, who she claims was her boyfriend at the time. Despite Mkwanazi not having jurisdiction outside Eguruleni, he allegedly roped in 2 other EMPD officers and a civilian to steal the stones. While Witness K says she believes she was used, the Commission's chairperson, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, has challenged that claim.
You can't really complain though, can you? Because you had robbed the owner of the stones. You can't really complain about having been used, can you?
No, I can't, Chancellor.
Thank you.
The stones were estimated to be worth more than 14 million rand, but Witness K says they sold them for just 110,000 rand. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
The Johannesburg Metro Police Department is identifying possible hotspots ahead of a planned demonstration by March and March on June 30th. The group is demanding that undocumented migrants leave South Africa by the end of the month. It follows a wave of anti-illegal immigration protests in the recent weeks across the country. Several African governments have already initiated urgent evacuation operations to repatriate hundreds of their citizens from South Africa. Mongezi Gogo reports. reports.
Yesterday, Police Minister Feroz Kachalia announced that government would set aside 600 million rand to prevent the country from descending into chaos on the 30th of June. The announcement comes despite earlier assurances from government that it did not recognize the deadline and that law enforcement agencies would maintain public order. Online, thousands of South Africans have expressed support for the protests, citing high levels of unemployment and the country's economic woes. Meanwhile, the JMPD says it is working with other law enforcement agencies to prepare for any eventuality, with officers empowered to exercise functions similar to those of the SAPS. Spokesperson Xolani Fihla.
We are working closely with other law enforcement agencies, and specifically for any events happening on the 30th of June.
For now, the only march planned in Johannesburg is by civic organization March and March, which is still awaiting approval. Monke Ziko, Eyewitness News.
Almost 3 months after the murder of Mfuleni senior clerk Martha Mani Rantsofu, no arrests have been made. Her family says they are still struggling to come to terms with her death. Rantsofu was shot dead outside a Val tire shop in what her family believes was a targeted hit linked to her work at the municipality, a claim the Metro has denied. Today, the woman whose alleged fraudulent activities Rantsofu was investigating appeared in the Vanderbijl Park Magistrates Court. Nkosikhona Malingamnisi reports.
Janita van Reenen is accused of defrauding both the municipality and residents, allegedly costing Mfuleni more than 400,000 rand. The alleged fraud was uncovered by Rantsofu, who reported it to municipal management before the matter was referred to police. Although the political killings task team was brought in to investigate Rantsofu's murder, no suspects have been apprehended in the murder case. Rantsofu's brother Difo says the family believes investigators are closing in on a breakthrough.
Whoever who's leading the investigation hasn't come forth to the family and say, these are the progress so far. So maybe for not jeopardizing the case, I might give them that the benefit of the doubt. That's why I've said, okay, let us allow them and give them space until they come to us with a concrete evidence.
As the family continues to wait for answers, Van Reenen is expected to return to court next Monday, where she will once again ask to be released on bail on new facts. Nkosikhona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
98% of communities affected by recent storm-related power outages in the Western Cape have now been reconnected. This has been confirmed by Western Cape Premier Alan Winde. 2 storms swept through the province just over a month ago, leaving 12 people dead while causing widespread damage to infrastructure. During a visit to Plettenberg Bay, Winde met with residents, municipal leaders and Eskom to address ongoing electricity disruptions. Winde's spokesperson Regan Thor.
It was resolved that communities will receive more regular updates on electricity restoration efforts from Eskom, the local municipality, as well as the Western Cape government.
And in France, the Louvre Museum will close 2 hours early from tomorrow to Saturday due to the severe heat wave in the country. Europe has been battered by sweltering temperatures, which have seen outdoor events being cancelled, transport disrupted, schools shut, and office workers told to work from home. According to reports, France has been the most affected so far in the early heat wave, with about 54 departments placed under a red heat wave alert. Meanwhile, an investigation is underway following the discovery of 2 children in a car. The children, aged 2 and 4, were found deceased, and authorities believe they died as a result of extreme temperatures. While gold is trading at $4,133.03 an ounce, the rand is at 16.50 to the dollar, 21.82 to the pound, 18.81 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $77.53 a barrel.
Strubens Valley, you can now expect about a 30-minute delay on Hendrik Potgieter approaching Krugerrand due to faulty traffic lights. Lone Hill also expects some delays on Main Road between Lone Hill Boulevard and Witkoppen. And in Rivonia, there's more than a 20-minute delay on Rivonia Road between 11th Avenue and the N1.
In your sport, Carlos Queiroz believes that Africa is underachieving at the FIFA World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo looking to end his 10-game goal drought at major tournaments. And All Blacks captaincy makes Adi Sevilla nervous.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 6 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 7 and 21, and Vereeniging 5 and 17 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, a Johannesburg Metro Police officer has told the Madlanga Commission that she was used to facilitate the theft of precious stones worth more than 14 million rand.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
We're calling on Joburg to walk the inner city with us. In 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. Welcome to the show. If you've just joined us, thanks for joining us earlier, if that's what you did. Coming up shortly, we're going to be talking to the CEO of the Joburg Roads Agency. This is a story prompted by something they posted on social media, specifically on X. And by the way, I recommend, just to get you ready for the interview, follow them on X if you've got access to that platform. Joburg Roads Agency is at my JRA, and they show pictures of damage being done to the base of a crucial bridge on the M2. We're going to talk to Zweli Nyati, CEO of the JRA, about firstly how this has happened, but crucially what they can do about it. This looks pretty dangerous to me. They describe it as intentional illegal excavation under the M2 bridge. That's not good news. Of course, there have been other remarks made and other points highlighted by a number of people, including the MMC for this particular part of the city's administration. Kenny Kunene has been highlighting the damage being done to infrastructure as well. But it's alarming to see this. What are the plans to fix it? Mr. Nyati joining us in 3 or 4 minutes' time. A lot of you are responding to various things we've been raising on the show, and we're interested to continue getting your points of view on some things. I suggested that maybe businesses should make allowance for people to watch Bafana in the wee hours of the morning. A couple of you are coming back on that. Some of you, I suspect, are pushing back on that. I must say, I don't feel hugely strongly about it. I'm more curious as to know whether this is something that's going on as a conversation in the place where you work. But please send us your thoughts on this and other issues. 072 702 1702. We also earlier, by the way, spoke to investigative journalist Diana Neal. She's been looking at a number of people who have reported that they are either being extorted for money by City Power employees when things break, or some of them feel that things are being broken. And then that with that leverage, that kind of extortion is going on as well. So if you've got any stories of that, or if you want to share with us stories of City Power workers actually doing what they should and doing it well, I'm happy to hear those as well. All of that, please, to 072 702 1702. It's 11 minutes past 5.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
I think it's appalling that these people are getting away with selling the cannabis in shopping centers everywhere. There's a shop on every corner, actually, and yet there's no Metropolis confiscating the products. Why do they confiscate vegetables and fruit of decent human beings, and this is just being left because it's a lot of money? And obviously, somebody is behind it. So I'm really appalled. My name is Tula, Johannesburg.
Hi, John and team. I am definitely going to arrive late for work on Friday. I'm going to sleep early on Thursday evening. I'm going to work an extra 2 hours tomorrow and Thursday. And I don't know, maybe I'll just arrive early because South Africa will win and I'll just be excited and I won't sleep, you know? But the plan is to sleep early on Thursday so I can get up at 3 o'clock, watch the match, and perhaps sleep again from 5 until I don't know, 7, 8, and then get up and go to work and arrive there at 10, 11. But I'm definitely watching the match.
Hi, John in 702. John, I must say I'm quite disappointed in your comments about our companies making provisions for workers to come late or not do so much work and things like that. You know, as a business owner, times are so tough. Business is really, really tough. We're just battling to stay afloat. And, you know, I think you're probably saying it tongue in cheek and, trying to make a joke of it. But I don't think it's so funny. I mean, things are really tough, and to expect that from any business would be just too much, really. I don't know. That's just my feeling. Thanks. It's Sanjay. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, just to engage with that point, I mean, I'm certainly not on a campaign for people to get the day off or anything like that. I do think it's interesting that sometimes people can say, listen, you know, this is a task that needs doing. And if you want to come in a little bit later on Thursday morning, by the way, and I'll talk about the match time in a moment for the person who's planning to come into late work to work late on Friday, because that may not work out all that well. It's Thursday. Thursday is actually the day in question. Check the schedule. No, I'm certainly not advocating for businesses to cut all the slack, but I have worked in situations where people say, listen, everybody wants to be able to leave early on Fridays, on Saturdays, so they can watch the Rugby World Cup. So these are the tasks, these are the hours required. How do we make sure that the job is done? But yeah, I have absolute respect for business people who are battling through tough times and say, this is not something we would consider to say that we shouldn't have a discussion about it at all and look at accommodating people's various needs and various passions. I don't think is entirely ridiculous. You know, you can have situations where people are present at work. Doesn't mean they're working. And if you hold out a carrot and you then get a performance either 12 hours earlier or 16 hours later, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with suggesting it's worth a discussion. 5:15.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Right, so we're going to play some music later in the show, and Kabazela came up with a very interesting theme, actually. People, musicians who sing songs from time to time, or maybe even just once, with a religious theme, but are not actually involved, for example, in an area like gospel music or the choral music version of particular hymns or whatever, that just happened in one of their songs to show some kind of religious feeling and passion, like this one from Van Morrison. Full Force Scale, Van Morrison. There are other examples. My Sweet Lord by George Harrison is another that was sent our way. We'll try and play that a little bit later. But any other suggestions? 072 7021 702.
EWN Traffic.
To the roads we go. If you're in Strubens Valley, you may already have noticed that things are a little bit slow. Karabo Charlie with that detail and all the others you need.
Yeah, heading into Strubens Valley, John, you can expect about a 30-minute delay on Hendrik Potgieter approaching Krugerrand due to faulty traffic lights. Lone Hill also expect some delays on Main Road between Lone Hill Boulevard and Witkoppen. Rivonia, there's more than a 20-minute delay on Rivonia Road between 11th Avenue and the N1, while in Woodmead, traffic remains sluggish on Bowling Road. This is approaching Witkoppen. Boksburg roadwork still causing delays heading towards Germiston. That's on the N17 westbound between Rondebolt and Osborne, while in Tshwane, Irene expects some delays on Nelmaypiers Drive approaching Main Road. And finally in Hermanstad, leaving the Pretoria CBD, there's slow-moving traffic on Eskiam Pahlele between Bomhagen and the R80. For the latest traffic updates, follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
The exit of yet another British Prime Minister from Downing Street, I think the sixth in a decade. You have to ask, is number 10 a haunted house? Perlman won a seat for the House of Commons, a seat that was meant to be quite a contest, but in the end proved to be all too easy. And I think Starmer saw the writing on the wall. And so with his voice cracking, he announced his resignation yesterday. Professor Richard Callan, you know Keir Starmer personally. How do you reflect on his departure?
Obviously, for him, it is a moment of great disappointment. You can't avoid the word of failure. But unfortunately, lacking a political program and the political wit to cope with the demands of high office. I think he was a very effective human rights lawyer in his day, and he was director of the British National Director of Public Prosecutions, the NDPP, and he was effective there. But Prime Minister requires a different skill set, and unfortunately his record will therefore be obliterated. Anything he's achieved in that time will not be remembered.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Expect a vibrant program. Mozart, Rameau and Brahms alongside Afro Jazz and Amapiano as the Busgate Soweto String Ensemble lights up the Linda. With the Impella sisters and their cousins, the Boikanyo brothers, as soloists, this concert showcases some of South Africa's most versatile young musicians. Support Busgate's life-changing mission and enjoy an afternoon of passion, talent and heart. The concert takes place at the Linda Auditorium on Sunday 19 July at 3 p.m. Book now at Quicket.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Get over 150 million rand in weekly extra savings with the Checkers XXL Savings Championship, like Clover Bliss Double Cream Yogurt, 1 kg for $42.99, Sunfoil Pro Chef Canola Oil, 2 litres for $69.99, and L'Oreal Elvive Shampoo or Conditioner, 300 or 400 mils, any two for 160 rand. Valid until 28 June, only at Checkers.
AI, global markets and trillion-dollar companies. The headlines move fast, but what do they really mean for investors and ordinary South Africans? Tomorrow, catch 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, in conversation with 91, as we unpack the trends shaping markets, investments, and the future of the global economy. Discover what's driving today's biggest investment conversations. That's 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, in conversation with 91. Tomorrow on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's look into something I was talking about a little bit earlier. A post on the social media platform X by the Joburg Roads Agency. You can go and have a look for yourself. They are at my JRA. And what it shows in a fairly short video, I must say, is what they describe as intentional illegal excavation under the M2 bridge. This is the worrying sentence. This damage directly threatens the bridge's support structures, compromising the safety of thousands of daily commuters. And then this statement of intent: we must act now to protect our city's infrastructure from further destruction. Let's welcome to 702 Drive Zweli Nyati, who is CEO of the Joburg Roads Agency. Mr. Nyati, welcome and thanks very much for your time. Just for perspective, I was trying to work out from the visuals where exactly this bridge is. If you could just tell us before we go into some of the details. The damage looks alarming, but where exactly is this happening? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to the listeners. So yesterday we embarked on an assessment, especially of the infrastructure around M1 and M2. So those pictures you saw, it was on the M2, but we did M1 and M2, especially bridges, because we picked up that there was now an alarming number of vagrants that are, camping underneath the bridges, and we have seen that some bricks were now missing, and they're starting to even mine the sand, which is part of the embankment and support structure of the bridges.
Where exactly is this bridge? I mean, I'm looking at the visuals and I can see the city skyline in the background. I'm not certain I can actually identify which building that is. Is this on the M2 East, West, or both?
If you look at it, it's not just one bridge. Like I said, we did the one on N Street, and then we moved up with M2. We did the last one next to Pick It Up. If you look at around Anderson, that's the one that has got a lot of bricks that are missing. And along the way, we did other infrastructure around bridges. So it's that route of M2 from N Street all the way to the entrance of Anderson and that corner where there's Pick It Up.
So the pictures I'm looking at, I still don't have a clear idea as to exactly this is where, but let's move on. And let me ask you this. The hole beneath the bridge is massive. The numbers of bricks removed look as if, I mean, these are paving bricks, just if people want to get a visual sense of it. The amount of damage done is enormous. The hole is huge. This must have been illegal excavation, as you describe it, Mr. Nyati, must have been going on for weeks, if not months. Why was nothing ever done to stop it?
Okay, so let me just clarify. The bridge itself, the support structure, is the pillars and the steel rods that are beneath the surface.
Right.
So what you see there for erosion and other things, we have put sand and then we have those bricks. They're still part of the furniture.
Okay.
But the structure, because we took some engineers with us, the structure itself is still intact. It's just that if there is this continuous digging, the vagrants might end up now wanting to cut the steel and other things and going underneath, especially when, around that line, we have a whole lot of people who are staying underground. That's what we discovered yesterday. There are some people who are staying in the holes, and on those bridges, it makes it easy to access some of the networks or services underneath the city. So that's the challenge that we're having. But I can assure the citizens that the bridge are structurally sound. We had a lot of engineers with us yesterday. But the continuous excavation and damage might lead to infrastructure collapse. So that's what we're trying to avoid. It's a law enforcement issue.
Well, let me ask my question a different way then and put it to you like this, Mr. Nyati. If you were to look at a hole of that size and you had engineers with you who would be able to tell you, I'm assuming these vagrants don't have earth-moving equipment or anything like that, how long would they have been destroying infrastructure for the damage to reach the scale that it already has? Would I be fair in saying this represents the vandalism and the economic sabotage of months, not days?
Of course. This might have been happening over a long period of time because you can see that the hole is massive. But like I've said, the infrastructure is under attack there. It's not only just the bridge. They are looking for cables. Guardrails are missing on top. We just picked up when we did assessment, and which pose an immediate threat. If anyone has to hit the side of the bridge being on top, you might roll over. So those are some of the things that we quickly deployed team to come and and mitigate, because we can't continue like this. But lucky enough, yesterday we had a lot of JMPD presence, and we hope that we're going to keep them there. And we have escalated it to other law enforcement to try and stop this, because it doesn't help me as an accounting officer to spend 5 million and fix.
Yes.
Next week again they're back at it. It's taxpayers' money. I can't keep on doing that.
But I mean, with respect, Mr. Nyati, you say we hope we can keep the JMPD there. But realistically, I mean, surely that's not going to happen. There's no real chance, unless this is your plan, to deploy permanent security guarding Joburg's bridges. Or is that your plan?
If it needs to happen that way, we'll have to do it. We don't have a choice, because it might be costly to fix the infrastructure, and it might even cost lives compared to paying security to be deployed there. That's a discussion we can have with the security cluster to see how they can help us. And I'm glad that at COJ, based on these issues of infrastructure at City Power and Water, the authorities contacted SANDF and SAPS to come and assist us, because sometimes JMPD doesn't have capacity to deal with these people. Remember, there's also illegal miners. That's what we were confronted with yesterday when we were doing assessment, and some of them looked very armed and aggressive. Then we had to call for backup while doing the assessment. So that's the nature of issues as we speak.
Yeah, it really does sound like a terrible situation you're facing, Mr. Nyati. If I could just clarify one more thing, because I read a sentence and maybe the way your agency has posted on social media. Well, let me read the sentence and then let's just clarify this. This damage directly threatens the bridge's support structures, compromising the safety of thousands of daily commuters. Would it be fair to say that what they really mean is this damage could directly threaten the bridge support structures, but you're not saying at the moment that we're reaching a situation where motorists cannot drive on that road with any degree of confidence? We're not there yet, but we're heading in that direction. Would that be a fair summary?
It's a fair summary. If we don't stop this, we might end up with an infrastructure that was compromised overnight and we are not aware, and the worst can happen. So we need to really deal with the situation ASAP. We're not there yet, but the direction is pointing there because there's continuation of these activities as we speak in other areas that maybe we haven't identified. So we need to really make a plan quickly and make sure that we protect everything that we have.
Thank you so much. Zweli Nyati, man with a massive task on his hands, CEO of the JRA. Thanks for your time on 702 Drive, 29 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, John. Well, I'm afraid the JSE really affected by what's happening in global markets. So the JSE All Share ending the day down nearly a full percent, 111,635 points. Financials up 0.05, but industrials down 0.68, and then resources down nearly 2.5%. So stronger dollar at the moment because of interest rate expectations. That's pushed gold and platinum prices down, made the rand weaker as well. Despite that, the fintech firm Optasia operates across many countries in Africa. They're down 6% on the day. Dischem's also down 4.74%, while then, and Clicks is also down over 3%, while the Premier Group, their food producer, they're down 3% too. So people are a little concerned about consumer shares. And then, of course, some of the miners. Anglo down nearly 5%, Glencore down over 4.5%, DRD Gold and Sibanye both down nearly 4% as well. British American Tobacco up nearly 4%. AB Hinberg up 1.87 suggests some of the defensive stocks are quite interesting. We Buy Cars up 1.14% on the day as well. News out of Grindrod after the close. They run the port of Maputo. They say their dry bulk terminal there exported 6.8 million tons during the period. That's up from 5.2 million tons last year. Their Matola terminal, the dry bulk export volume, that was down by 8%. And the Navitrade facility in Richards Bay and at Maiden Wharf, they had big increases, around 46% over the period. The First Rand, the banking group, they were worried about the decisions of British regulators, issues with the car financing unit there. It's been going on for a long time. They'll have to make a provision of around £750 million as a result, but their net interest income in South Africa is slightly higher than expected. Obviously, Westbank helping there because we're seeing more people buying cars, and confirmation consumer confidence falling dramatically, mainly because of higher fuel prices. So no surprises really to anyone who's been paying attention. In the US, it looks like the concerns around AI valuation still continuing today. It had an impact last night. The Dow Jones is up 0.03, but the Nasdaq is down 1.75%, and the S&P 500 is down 1.13% so far. The gold price, $4,124.57 an ounce. Platinum, $1,660.10. Brent crude slightly lower, $77.18. And the rand to the dollar, 16.51. So weaker, John, to the euro, 18.79. The British pound, 21.78. On the Money Show this evening, Grain SA still very angry at the decision by trade authorities not to increase tariff protection for South African wheat farmers. We'll talk too about the business confidence numbers. Also, debt busters saying half of consumers will find themselves in severe financial distress if there's another hike in interest rates. And we'll speak to Warren Ingram this evening about investment fees. Do you ever look at the small print with what you've invested? All of that to come on the Money Show tonight. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Money show between 6 and 8. No, I'm not very good at looking at the small print, but I'm good at listening up when there are news headlines. And Bali Tlamini with those.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has rejected claims that government is ignoring public concerns over illegal migration and responding with heavy-handed tactics. Kachalia has been speaking in Cape Town this afternoon after receiving an operational plan from Western Cape Police ahead of the anticipated protest action against illegal migration. The planned demonstrations come amid calls by some civic organizations for undocumented migrants to leave the country by a self-imposed deadline of June 30. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
Kachalia's comments follow criticism from anti-illegal immigration group March and March, whose leaders have accused government of protecting lawbreakers while disregarding the concerns of South Africans. Speaking after a meeting with Defence Minister Angie Motshekga in Johannesburg yesterday, Kachalia warned that any acts of lawlessness during the protest would be met with the full force of the law. He insists that government is not dismissing citizens' concerns and remains committed to upholding the rule of law.
We have to be clear and emphatic that the right to protest shouldn't be used as an excuse for criminality, as an excuse for abusive behavior. Only the police and other officials have the responsibility to enforce the law.
He says June 30 must remain a normal business day, with people free to open and operate their businesses without disruption. Dutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News in Cape Town.
The Reserve Bank's latest leading economic indicators suggest South Africa's economy may be headed for slower growth in the months ahead. The indicator, which provides an early signal of future economic activity, fell by 1.8% in April as business confidence weakened. Anelita Fandese reports.
The latest SARB composite business cycle indicators dropped from 121.1 in March to 118.9 in April, painting a picture of an economy that is losing momentum. According to the Reserve Bank, 8 of the 10 available components weakened with slower growth in the money supply, fewer residential building plans approved, and lower business confidence among the top biggest drags. The data aligns with several recent indicators showing pressure on households and businesses, raising concerns on the country's growth trajectory. Anelita Fandese, Eyewitness News.
And the United Nations has urged AI firms to come clean about their environmental footprint. UN Chief Antonio Guterres says faster action on global warming is needed, which means all sectors must cooperate. The call comes as Europe battles with a second heat wave. Experts have warned that the growing energy and water use of data centers powering AI and other digital services is putting pressure on local communities and the environment. Earlier this month, a UN study found that the facilities consumed more electricity than all but 10 countries in 2025. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, lows of between 5 and 7 degrees and highs of between 17 and 21.
El Dorado Park heading towards Protea Lane. You can still expect about a 30-minute delay on the N12 westbound from the N1 all the way to Klipspruit Valley due to ongoing roadworks. Strubens Valley. Traffic remains heavily backed up on Hendrik Potgieter approaching Krugerrand due to faulty traffic lights. Lone Hill also expects some delays on Main Road between Lone Hill Boulevard and Witkoppen.
The top story in EWN. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has rejected claims that government is ignoring public concerns over illegal immigration and responding with heavy-handed tactics.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Some breaking news in from the Supreme Court of Appeal, ruling in favor of the former Zambian President Edgar Lungu's family. Remember, this has been going on and on now, where the Zambian government went to the Supreme Court of Appeal in a bid to repatriate the former president's remains. The family has now won. I imagine there may be grounds for a further appeal to the Constitutional Court, but the SCA making that ruling in favor of the Lungu family.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
It's Powerball jackpot time. This Tuesday, you have a chance to win over 170 million rand in total Powerball estimated jackpot. That's life-changing money that could be yours instantly. Catch the live draw tonight at 9 p.m. on ETV and SABC. You could become SA's next multi-millionaire. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizek Kaya.
That's Tabo, before he got naked. When Tabo's car broke down, he did what every manly man does best. Hit things, fiddle, and hope it works. So Tabo got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance in seconds and can now call roadside assistance anytime on the Naked app. Tools down, Tabo. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
The Global Entrepreneurship Congress Africa returns to Cape Town from 16 to 17 September 2026. The continent's largest Pan-African platform brings together investors, policymakers, and entrepreneurs. GEC Plus Africa is powered by African Bank in partnership with the Western Cape Government, Microsoft, Amazon, Telkom, 22 on Sloan, and more. Register on gecafrica.co. GEC Plus Africa. Connecting Africa.
Not every change feels like a choice. Some arrive as disruption. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton is a podcast about those moments where life moves first and you have to catch up. When certainty disappears, direction blurs, and everything familiar starts to shift. You'll hear stories from people who faced change, doubt, and pressure and found a way forward. Their stories give us confidence. Living vicariously through their experience gives us hope, and we learn from their journeys. Because what feels like an ending is often the beginning of something else. Shift Happens, weekly on primemediaplus.com, the Prime Media Plus app, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Powered by First Light, therapeutics for the modern mind.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, I feel like the guy that he says he owned the business and he's talking that you shouldn't be entertaining or encouraging. First of all, you're working on radio. It's not you that is saying that people must not work. You're just entertaining to hear what people are thinking, what people are saying. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And also, like a gentleman that had said that he will work extra hours on Wednesday, extra hours on Thursday to cover for the hours on Friday. And companies do that all the time. You know, I know a company which they start every day at 7 in the morning and knock off late, so that on Friday they can knock off at 12:30. You just plan your time with your employees and stop being angry at everyone because businesses are not doing well. It is Linden here in Kailami. Thank you very much.
John, this guy can't explain. That bridge there where this digging is on the Boysons Road. There under Boysons, the bridge at Boysons Road, corner Boysons and Sour Street, the former Sour Street. So I don't know why he can't explain or write that this is Sour Street or Boysons Road there. This is the bridge on Boysons Road and Sour, under the M2.
Hey, Dr. John and the team. Dr. John, what's happening there under the M2 bridge, along that stretch of M2 in the city center? Let's say between Joslovo and M1 double-decker section. That M2 area between those 2 points, Dr. John, has been like that for years. This is not something that's been done in a couple of months or couple of weeks, as the gentleman is saying there. This thing has been happening for a long time, for a very, very, very long time. It shows the lack of enforcement, the lack of just care for the infrastructure of Joburg. That thing has been happening for a long while. I don't understand why people can't be moved out of under those bridges, because they can't stay there. It's not safe for them, the people that stay there, and it's not safe for motorists also. It's been happening for a long time, Tate John. I'm in Orange Farm.
Thanks for those messages. Now, T adds this dimension on the infrastructure issue and says, can we all take greater pride in and responsibility for our country? The issue with the bridge did not develop overnight. It likely took place over an extended period, and many people may have noticed signs of the theft or damage. By reporting suspicious activities and looking out for our communities, we can help protect public infrastructure and ensure that resources meant to benefit everyone are preserved for future generations. You may have a view on that. It's coming up for 18 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele, another night, another round of World Cup games. They come thick and fast.
Absolutely, John. And 4 games are scheduled at the FIFA World Cup over the next 24 hours, including DR Congo up against Colombia, while England face off with Ghana. With the tournament expanded to feature 48 nations, Black Stars head coach Carlos Queiroz has provided an analysis of African teams at the World Cup so far.
The potential of African football in terms of teams is still under delivery. We have in Africa more potential than the results that we are getting. But that is another story for lack of sometimes conditions and infrastructures and all that stuff. What African football is taking benefit is exactly when these players, they move to different environments, they get that experience and they can perform better. This is what we are seeing now in 2026.
Roberto Martinez says Cristiano Ronaldo remains an example for the team to follow as Portugal go in search of their first win of the tournament. They take on Uzbekistan in their second group game tonight, and with all eyes being on the captain, who's failed to score in his last 10 games at major tournaments.
I think he's a player that he focused so much. Probably the biggest example of how to focus and the aspects that you can influence. The way he recovers, the way he prepares, the way he trains. He's a good example for us, for all of us. It's his 6th World Cup, and that really helps in that respect. But that doesn't take away the feeling of frustration that we all had as a team, the feeling of disappointment after the game, and probably that's the best starting point to prepare the next game.
Adi Savia says he's nervous but relishing the challenge of captaining the All Blacks after being appointed to the role by new coach Dev Rennie. Savia replaces the injured Scott Barrett as skipper, and his first games will be next month's Nations Championship tests against France, Italy and Ireland.
I've always said it, like, I guess from the sense over here and people, like winning that's success. But I think for me on a deeper level is making sure we connect and build trust as people and as players, and if I can walk off the field and someone can say I've helped them along the way and made them better, that's success for me as a human.
An Italian race walker, Alex Schwarzer, is being investigated once again for doping and faces a possible 3rd ban of his career. The 2008 Olympic 50-kilometer champion is accused of using the blood booster EPO after tests were run on his urine and blood samples. His previous doping bans have led to him missing the Olympic Games in 2016, 2021 and 2024. Tolakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 5:45, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Let's catch up with what's happening in Rivonia and other trouble spots. Karabo Charlie once again.
Yeah, John, if you're in the Rivonia area heading towards Sunning Hill, you can expect about a 20-minute delay on Rivonia Road between 11th Avenue and the N1. Woodmead, traffic sluggish on Bowling Road approaching Witkoppen. If you're leaving Sandton, expect about a 30-minute delay on Greyston Drive from Benmore all the way to Catherine Street. It looks like there's an accident scene there. In Eldorado Park, also about a 30-minute delay on the N12 westbound between the N1 and Klipspruit Valley Road due to roadworks. And in Strubens Valley, traffic remains heavily backed up on Henry Potgieter approaching Kruger Road due to faulty traffic lights. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Seeing the Outsurance points men on your route is like the feeling you get when you walk into your very own surprise party. It just makes you feel good. The Outsurance points men are traffic heroes, easing congestion and helping everyone to get where they need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. Just another way you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using #PointsmenLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
What happens to all of that IP that lives at these data centers? Can at any moment the billionaires and trillionaires just decide to take all of that information and use it for themselves?
Well, they're doing it already, unfortunately. I'm not sure if you're familiar with some of the sort of class action lawsuits against some of these models in the state. And so I think there's generally awareness. The other thing that I think within South African context, the likes of Poppy as an act also gives users some sort of protection. In Europe, GDPR is an equivalent. So these protections are in place, but unfortunately, you are at the mercy of these larger models.
Dawood Patel, CEO of Helm.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota.
Let's walk the talk.
If you've got a small dog, you'll know they live big lives, but did you know that smaller dogs have unique needs and can benefit from eating a food specially tailored to those needs? That's why Hills Pet Nutrition has developed expert science-backed nutrition to help small dogs live their best lives. Whether for overall well-being or to address a specific health issue, there's Hills food for your dog. Hills is available at your vet, pet specialty store or online. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more.
That's Sia before he got naked. Sia had a bumper bash and had to reattach his fender using duct tape and a prayer. So Sia got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance in seconds and can now submit claims instantly on the Naked app. No more arts and crafts for you, Sia. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
You know when your people are giving their best, not because they're pushed or pressured, but because they feel supported. And support is making sure they're covered. So if something happens, they can get the care they need. FlexiCare Health Insurance makes it simple for every business to protect their people with affordable health cover. You care, we cover. For a tailored FlexiCare quote, speak to your financial advisor today. FlexiCare is underwritten by ANG, a licensed non-life insurer and FSP, and administered by Discovery Health, a licensed FSP.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive, closing out the show with music as we always do. The theme that we chose for today and the question we set you was songs that have some kind of religious message in them, some kind of religious theme, but performed by artists who are not, for example, gospel artists, in which that would be the way they make music, but for some reason they've come up with a religious song to add to the mix of music that they've been sharing with the world. Let's hear a couple of your suggestions.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. I would like to suggest an artist by the name of Java. His genre of music is more of Afro hip-hop, Afro-pop-ish. But he has a song, it's a gospelish song. It's called Uyena. Beautiful song, beautiful artist.
I want to take it there. Sasala, Tomunyo Tuya, Sukamama, Mobuyana, Batuyana, Tukulukulu, Asium Sasala, Tomunyo Tuya, Sukamama, Mobuyana, Batuyana. Tauba to Mati, Tinkalaga, Ingogo, Anastre, Simhamba Pans.
Java with Uyena, released last year, an example of an artist moving into something different, music with a religious theme and religious energy without that being their stock in trade. So your suggestions, please, on 072 702 1702. More music to come.
past 24 hours. This is what's happened in your world.
Limpopo police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the discovery of 23 young people in a suspected human trafficking case. The women and men aged between 19 and 23 were found at a house in Seshego yesterday following a tip-off. The group told authorities they were housed there by a man who had recruited them under the guise of selling insurance.
Police arrested a man yesterday after receiving information about alleged suspicious activities at the house. Preliminary investigations revealed that the young men and women came from several provinces, including Limpopo, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis presents the School of AI, the first of its kind in Africa, powered by 100 world-class AI experts delivering cutting-edge training, consulting and real-world AI solutions. Regenesis has embedded compulsory AI modules across all their programs and 12 of their schools, from business and law to education and technology. Join the movement now. Enroll at regenesis.net. Regenesis, one institution leading the way.
We needed cardboard, glue and tape for ancient history. But now we've built a pyramid with flashing LEDs. The dogs bore calls like Pharaoh and there's glitter on the floor. How did we end up here? Well, it's the crazy store.
That's crazy, crazy. That's the crazy store. Went in for one small thing, came out with so much more.
The crazy store. Hey, you never know what you might find.
It's your last chance to enter. Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 is closing entry soon. This year we are celebrating entrepreneurs who've turned personal challenges into businesses that make a real difference. Catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa every morning to meet the finalists and hear their inspiring stories. Go to igniteyourbusiness.co.za or primemediaplus.com to enter. You could win 200,000 Rand and the recognition your business deserves. T's and C's apply. See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
So we're looking for songs sung by artists who aren't gospel artists, but songs with a religious message. Granny T in Boksburg suggests Krista Berg's. Here is Spanish Train.
Deep. Well, a railway man lay dying with his people by his side. His family were crying, knelt in prayer before he died. But above his bed, just awaiting for the dead, was the devil with a twinkle in his eye. Well, God's not around, and look what I found. This one's mine! Just then the Lord himself appeared in a blinding flash of light and shouted at the devil, "Get thee hence to endless night."
Krista Berg, that one goes way back. 51 years ago, he came out with that song called Spanish Train.
Jubilang, John, and Tim, the OJs, the song Prayer.
Heavenly Father, creator of all things, I humble myself as I bow to your throne. I pray for love, joy, peace, and happiness to be present in my home. Well, I do. And that your Holy Spirit dwell in my heart and in my mind.
The OJs with Prayer. Oh, Mola G, I hope I've said that correctly, thinks we should be listening to Mr. Mister, and this one, Kyrie.
The wind blows hard against this mountainside, across the sea into my soul. It reaches into where I cannot hide.
setting my feet upon the road. My heart is old, it holds my memories. My body burns a gem like flame. Somewhere between the soul and soft machine is where I find myself again. Kyrie eleison, down the road that I must travel. Kyrie eleison, through the darkness of the night. Kyrie eleison, where I'm going, will you follow? Kyrie eleison, on the highway in the light. When I was young, I thought of growing old, of what my life would mean to me.
Mr. from 1985, Kyrie eleison. Apparently a Greek phrase that translates to Lord have mercy. One more, Dr. Phil says, and I'm sure other people will have had this in their mind as well. The Beatles, Let It Be.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be.
Couple of others that we don't have time to play, but at least let's acknowledge them. Aretha Franklin, Mary Don't You Weep. Don't know who sent that, but thank you for that. And Bafana says the pop group Westlife also did Josh Groban's You Raise Me Up. That's it from the 702 Drive team. We've loved having you with us. Hope you've enjoyed this show. From all of us, have a great Tuesday. Good night.
Let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Rewards. Get double cash back when an African team scores and wins at the FIFA World Cup 2026, courtesy of Visa. T's and C's apply. Good evening. On your Money Show tonight, we asked the Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Dean McPherson, why if government issues so many tenders, so few of them are ever actually awarded? Grain SA says it'll challenge the decision by our trade authorities to not increase tariffs on imported wheat. New numbers show how one more interest rate hike could tip many people into severe financial distress, while new consumer confidence figures show the real impact of the massive fuel price increases. And in personal finance tonight, how to know if you're being ripped off by your investment